going on? Welcome to another episode of Music Row Hideout, the show where we hang out with artists, musicians, and entertainers in Waylon Jennings' old basement studio. My name is Jury, and as always, I am gathered here with co-host Ryan Poole, who I'll pass it to introduce the guests.
Well, tonight we have a very special guest. If you've ever wondered where our intro music came from, it came from a band called Dawson Hollow. And tonight, we're going to do something we've never done before. We are going to have all of the members of Dawson Hollow, but we're going to break it up. And so we're going to start with the two most senior members of the band.
Hey.
That was a polite way to say it.
Yeah.
Go me.
Wow.
And then we're going to move through the ranks. So starting tonight, we have Kyle and Rachel from Dawson Hollow.
What's
Welcome
up,
to the
guys?
show.
Hello.
Good to be here.
So Dawson Hollow comes from Lebanon, Missouri, which is about an hour outside of Springfield, Missouri.
And
Which-
where is that in relation to literally anything I might have heard of?
If you look at America, the very, very center, that's us.
Oh, so you're holding it down for the rest of us.
That's right.
And originally, though, and why I wanted to start with you two, Dawson Hollow used to be a band called Link Union, sorta.
Sort of.
Sort of. Yeah, it's a long story. If we take it way back to Dawson,
Dawson.
where-
Where is
Dawson?
Dawson?
Dawson is a tiny town about an hour from Lebanon, outside of Mountain Grove, Missouri.
Is that where the creek is?
That is where the creek is. That's
But
right.
not that creek. Not the one
Oh,
you think.
okay. Just checking.
Does it give you
There is a
eternal
creek
life?
there, though.
Wait, what creek are we talking about?
The show?
Dawson's Creek.
The
Dawson's
creek in
Creek. Oh, I get
Dawson
it
is
now.
called Beaver Creek, not Dawson's Creek.
That's true.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Beaver
Yeah.
Creek.
Huh.
Yes.
This is a real missed opportunity.
Yeah, seriously.
We had Dawson Hollow for almost 5 years, and none of us had seen any of Dawson's Creek.
I've never seen one either, to be fair.
I watched the first 3 episodes.
It's a go?
Meh. I think you had to live longer
Of the
ago.
era when it was live,
Yes.
when it was like the new hotness.
Yes.
To be fair, you did. But you didn't watch it back
Are
then.
you just going to keep calling them old the whole time? or,
Rachel and I
Are exactly
are
the same age.
Yeah, we're exactly the same age.
That's
so
right.
I know. I remember when Dawson Hollow was on TV, but they were older kids than us. Dawson's Creek was on TV, thank you. But they were older kids.
Last week, we had a check written out to us. Dawson Creek.
Really?
No.
The bank took it.
Wow. You heard it here first, folks. If you want to cash a check from Dawson's Creek, you can.
I can help you out. Yes. We played in Colorado and drove all night home. And I opened the check the next morning. I was like, yep. Yes. So, yeah, Dawson is where our mom's family settled 7 generations ago. And there's always been music in our mom's family.
Yeah.
And that's where we came from.
Wow.
Our great-great-grandpa used to be the square dance fiddler in that community. And so when we were growing up, we lived there for a few years. And I would hear all these old stories from my great-great-grandpa Charlie, how he would stand in a doorway and he'd play the fiddle tunes. And there was a square dance going on in one room and a square dance going on in the next room. And he was right in between them playing for the dances. And
How
as a-
long ago was it?
Oh, that was, he
Probably.
was probably back, I'm just guessing here, back in the teens.
Oh, wow.
Or 20s, so 100 years ago
Yeah.
is when
Yeah,
this guy was
100
doing
plus.
this. Yeah, that'd be my guesstimate there. My mom could tell you exactly, probably. She's the family history person, but...
She's on next week, so.
yeah,
we'll
there you
ask her.
go.
Great.
That would be awesome.
The house that we lived in Dawson was built around that same time.
Wow.
And it sat in a hollow, which is where we got our name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. So take me back to the start of you guys getting into music.
Mom always had us singing and doing something. She was a piano teacher and still is. And then our grandma taught for over 50 years. And so we took lessons from her also.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
To do
Yeah.
anything, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't even
Yes.
been alive that long. I've done nothing that long.
So Kyle showed some interest in learning some other instruments.
Yep. I was about 11, and I started taking some violin lessons. And Rachel started taking some, I think it was flute
Yep.
lessons in this small orchestra, and started learning those instruments a little bit. And it wasn't very long later where I realized I wanted to be more fiddle style, less violin style. And I just liked that style of music better. And I started taking some fiddle lessons on the side. and started learning fiddle tunes and just fell in love with that whole world.
And right around that time, our dad went to a bluegrass festival. We'd never even heard of bluegrass music before, and he brought home some CDs from it. And about 20 minutes from our house is one of the biggest festivals in the Midwest. And so huge national touring bands come through there twice a year. And we just fell in love with that music. So Kyle was really pursuing fiddle. My grandpa had a mandolin. He let me have it. So I learned that.
Mom picked up a guitar. Dad picked up a bass.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the start of music as a family.
Yeah.
Did he play bass before that?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. No musical.
He had like teeny tiny bit of piano background.
Wow.
But
You can play the boogie woogie on the piano, and that was it.
yeah.
So y'all heard bluegrass and were just like, I don't know, let's just learn all the instruments from this.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
Man,
It
what
was-
would have happened if you heard like rap? You know,
I don't know, man.
it might be a
I
different
Don't
band.
know. It was funny. The church we were attending at the time was very classical, and that's where we had got into an orchestra and started that way. But then when we discovered this very hillbilly version of music, it was kind of fun. We felt like rebels. Yes.
So classical, like in what way? Like they played classical music?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, not just like classically styled, but like classical music.
Yes.
That was the thing. Yep.
Wow.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever heard of that in a church before.
They were and there was just several families there that studied and were amazing musicians, and that was their inclination. And so we're just like, bring out the banjo. How great thou art on the banjo.
So it was like a footloose situation. Is that kind of what's going on? You brought in the music.
Yikes.
And they were
Barn
like,
dance
calm
version."
down.
Well, I did get the church had this family that left that wrote some complaints. And one of their complaints was that our music had a backbeat that could conjure demons.
Now, to be fair, ever since you guys played, there have been demons running around all over this place.
Yes, and it was because of the offbeat. And I played mandolin, and mandolin is exclusively the offbeat. I was like, oh yeah.
They just wanted
And
you
it's
out.
a woman bringing demons.
Oh.
A
no.
Jezebel in the church playing the mandolin.
It was funny though. It really was nice to just be like, no, we don't. I'm a kid and that's dumb. Moving on.
Yeah, I'm like, can you point out to me where in the Bible it says certain beats will bring in some demons? I don't think it says that.
It did not.
I can't find it.
I mean, I'm not a Bible scholar, but I'm pretty sure. I think I can say with confidence it's not in there. I don't-
But just like tiny things like that didn't bother us. It has helped us define who we were and move on.
Yeah. So as we were growing up and our younger three brothers started getting older, they all started picking up instruments and joining along with the family music thing. And we did that for quite a while. And then my dad actually quit his job and we hit the road full time for several years, just playing a variety of music, a lot of bluegrass influenced stuff, a lot of gospel stuff. But then we also started learning a bunch of other cover music so we could go play several different kinds of shows for different audiences. And that was great. You talk about a good training ground to learn the skills that it takes to put on a show. You know, we could do a Sunday morning gospel set. We could do a Saturday morning variety show at, a community theater or whatever. We could go to a bluegrass festival and rip a bluegrass set pretty good. So all these different styles. And then when we started writing music, that all kind of came together really, really well because we had all this experience in these different areas, and our music started taking kind of an interesting turn away from a specific style and into more of we still don't quite know what to call it, indie folk rock, something, I don't know, but it's kind of the long story short there, musically.
kind of how it went. I mean, I think you can comfortably say that your sound now is very much rock music. I think it's pretty. You can comfortably say that.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely got rock elements.
Yeah,
in it
which is
would
dope.
fit.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of rock, and I've noticed over the last 15 years or so, guitar music and rock music has been like on the decline until like this year. I feel like I've been seeing it come right back. We had a band on last week that was more of a rock band. There's this other guy in Nashville's coming up right now, more rock band. And I don't know. I'm just real excited for more guitar music. Like
Yeah,
I miss the distorted guitars, the solos, like all that stuff that was so cool for so many decades. We just kind of killed for purely electronic things or very, very acoustic, which are fine too. That's all great. But I don't know. I just miss a little bit of aggression in music, a little bit of that sound. And it sounds like, and you guys definitely have it. Enjoy it quite a bit. I mean, obviously.
But no further questions. No, just kidding.
Moving on.
Okay, so rewinding like a ton. So you said your dad quit music to go on the road with you. So one thing,
quit his job.
Quit his job.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, the other way around.
Yep.
Okay, so that's like probably got to sound really crazy to most people in the world.
It is. It is very crazy.
It's very crazy. There are weirdly a lot of families that do that. They go full time for a while, and everyone I've met is weird and crazy.
Does that include y'all?
It definitely includes us.
Yeah. Okay.
We went through 3 different buses.
Old red one, the blue
one, and the new red
You
one.
just running them into the ground, or
No, the first one was didn't run great anyway.
I think it was a 1969 Silver Eagle, and it was just old and fell apart. The next one was a 1990, I believe.
it's a big upgrade, several decades.
Yes.
Yeah, and it had a motor in it that just liked to blow up all the time, so that ended up being not cool. And then we got this 45-foot red Silver Eagle bus. It was candy apple red, and we toured out of it for several years, and it was great. It ran super good for us, and we totally remodeled the inside and everything. And
it was pretty bare bones.
Was that the one I was in?
Yes.
Yeah.
You saw us?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, you met us when we still had a bus. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Big Red, that's what we called it.
Oh, yeah, and so touring with your whole family on the road is a whole different lifestyle. And as kids growing up in that, you don't realize that until we retired the family band. And we still tour and do this on the road now, but we're not in a bus living together. Like, we would go out 3 months at a time and not see our house for 3 months. In the summers, we would go up north. We would hit Wisconsin, Minnesota, the Dakotas, go into Canada for a month or 2, and then come back. And then in the winter, we would go down south, Arizona, Texas, Florida, 2 to 3 months at a time. There was a period of like 5 years, the younger siblings didn't see snow because we were down south for the winter. So it was just a weird lifestyle, but I loved it, and it was very formative.
Man, our reaction to because you said
They
we didn't see snow. Neither of us were both like deadpan. I'm like, I didn't see snow for 30 years. I grew up in Southern California. I saw snow like twice in my life until I moved here. Like, I don't even know what snow is. I moved out here and it was snow. I was like, what is this? Stuff's falling from the sky.
Is it ash?
Yeah, like, is there another fire?
Yeah, another fire.
Another fire.
Yeah, there was one time when we were in San Diego and there was like big crazy fires going on and it felt like it was snowing. Like there was ash raining down for like a week. It was crazy. Yeah, but couldn't build a snowman out of it, or an ash man, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't
Ashman.
couldn't do it. Tried.
Okay, I want to see if I can construct this into like one thought question here.
Right.
So I want to rewind. So this transition of like, especially it's been a lot of years for you guys, and it's just been your life. So you're just like, well, so my dad picked up bass, so then we started a band, so then he quit his job and we went on the road, and then that's all we did for like a really long
The natural
time.
progression of things.
Yeah. And so like thinking about that and just like how crazy it is to like quit your job and go on the road with your family, combined with a big part of the Dawson Hollow story from early on was that when you were young, like you only listened to bluegrass and you didn't listen to other kinds of musics.
Music.
I think of music as
proper
plural.
way.
Yeah. So, okay, so how did you go from dad bought a CD of bluegrass and it was like, maybe this is conjuring demons at church, to like, no, only this. We're not going to do anything else, and then going onto the road and everything.
We did the cover band thing for years and years and years, and then we started writing our own music. And whenever we would do a show, almost everybody in the audience would enjoy the show. They would like it. But we didn't have those fans that were like diehard fans. And we're like, man, how do we get some of those? And we started writing some of our own songs, and people actually would latch onto those and be like, that song it means so much. We're like, oh, wow, this original music seems to have more long-term career building qualities to it. And we're like, wow, if we want to do this long term, we don't want to play other people's songs forever. So let's do our own thing. And then that started evolving how we were thinking about music, and we started writing all of our own songs. And was kind of the birth of the idea of Dawson Hollow. We started doing a lot of the songs in our normal shows, and it wasn't accepted.
Received well.
Wasn't received real well, just because of the demographic of the people we were playing for.
Sure.
And one of our friends told us, you guys need to start a different band and just start a completely different thing. And keep doing your family band thing for a while because it's paying the bills. I mean, that's great. So we did that for a long time. We kept the family band going, and it was paying the bills and everything. We started building Dawson Hollow, and that's where, since the family band has since retired, but the Dawson Hollow is what we're still continuing to build.
Now, were you asking even further back? Like, we were listening to exclusively bluegrass and gospel music.
Yeah.
So I don't really know why. Just the CDs that mom and dad had on the shelves was folk and gospel, and eventually we added bluegrass to our stuff that we listened to.
How deep does that go? Like, is that like, that's it? That's all you listen to?
There was
like, did you not even know about like Metallica? Like, I don't know, you know?
No, we, in 2012, we got this live DVD of an Eagles concert. We got a live DVD of James Taylor, Sting, Diana Krall. I discovered Celine Dion and Maroon 5.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So none of these, you didn't know any of these before?
I had heard their names.
Maybe heard the name, right? Through just people,
You'd heard the movies, or the songs on movies and
okay,
stuff.
yeah,
So you see the artist performing the song, and you're like, whoa.
Right. It's not like you didn't know what other music was. Like, you heard it around. You live in the world. Right.
Exactly. Yeah, but we were just obsessed with our instruments and the music that our instruments was created with. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so then we started branching out and discovering all these other bands and real music that most people listens to. But I'm so glad that our journey did that, because we learned how to play technically really well. Because if you were to be accepted and do well in the bluegrass world, you had to be very good. Very good. And so that pushed us really, really hard to be really good at the instruments we were choosing. And then when we started listening to this other music, we're like, it's not easy, but it is, because we pushed ourselves so hard in this other genre. So when you come back and it's like, oh, that's all you want? That's the whole solo? That's like 1/5 of half
the notes that we used to.
It's so easy.
Because most popular music is literally just 4 chords, right? Like, it's literally what it's the same 4, in fact, like across the board. Like, that's it. Why even have a 5th chord? Like, I don't know. But so coming from bluegrass, that was not the case. I don't know that much about bluegrass. I've seen like a little bluegrass in my life, but very little.
It is a really cool genre, but it is very restrictive, and there are very strict rules. Very strict rules.
Oh,
I'd
like
say
rules.
15 years ago, you'd be
15
right.
years ago, that's
a
true.
lot of musicians have taken it.
Well, it's a different era
Exactly.
now, right?
Yeah, but,
like, everything's online. The internet ruins everything, or makes it better.
Back in the day, if you went to a festival and plugged your bass in, you'd get booed off the stage. Like,
really?
Pretty crazy.
That deep, huh?
It was very acoustic and very organic. But yeah, I'm so glad that's where we came from. It gives us a very different twist when we try to emulate other genres. Does that kind of answer your question, sort of?
Yeah.
There really was no mom and dad saying, you cannot listen to this other kind of music. It's just kind of what we did, and we liked that kind of music. Kyle and I are still pretty obsessed with folk, and we stay in touch with bluegrass world a little bit. And so we bring more of that to the band, that organic sound, than the younger boys.
Yeah, awesome.
And I'm an old-time fiddle player.
Yes.
So that's
right. Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, I wanted to ask you, because I feel like I've gotten an answer for this before, but I don't really know enough to know. And you seem like the perfect guy to ask, because you mentioned you prefer the style of fiddle over the style of violin. What is the difference in those styles?
Sure, it's just a style thing. Like, that's
what everybody says. Everyone just goes, it's a style thing. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Well, like, listen to, a classical guitar player versus a shredding electric guitar player. It's the same instrument, kind of, right? I mean,
It is the same
you
instrument,
technically,
right?
yeah, it's got
Yeah.
6 strings, and they're the same strings, and you can technically do the same things, but it's just the style that the person plays on it is probably going to be a lot different. Now, with the fiddle and the violin, it is actually the same instrument.
Right.
It's just, a fiddle player would be a more traditional folk type music, and that can include such a huge variety of styles. Violin is usually associated more with classical or, maybe more classical.
In my head, it's like this. Violin's like, me, 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 me.
Right, and fiddle's like...
No. Fiddle's like,
Look, I just think if I hear like Mozart,
I think that's
it's
one of my
violin.
favorite descriptions. I'm going to steal that one.
I like it. I like it.
Because like my wife was learning violin for a little bit.
Yeah.
Or fiddle.
My
I don't
sister?
know. Yeah, your sister. And I remember when she first started, she didn't know that those were the same instrument, right? When she just wanted to learn. And I did know that, so I felt like I knew something, which was nice. But she was like, "What's the difference?" And I didn't know. So I just said, when I told her, I was like, well, if you listen to like Mozart or Beethoven, like that's violin.
Sure.
But if you listen to like The Devil Went Down to Georgia, that's the fiddle.
Sure.
And that's like that's like my only anything that I know about
Basic
it.
understanding, I'd say you're spot on. Yeah,
Nailed it. What you're saying is, I am a scholar of the fiddle. That's what you're saying.
He's not quite, but whatever floats your boat.
He said it first.
now completely off topic. Just because we haven't had this on the show before. Both of you have trained jujitsu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
How did that happen? Why did you get into it? Why do you stay?
It's therapy.
That's true. It is very therapeutic. I'm currently not taking classes. I have too many businesses for that right now, but I will be going back eventually. It's a gorgeous art, and it's wonderful self-defense. Great exercise.
Yeah.
You learn how to compete against not only who you're working with, but yourself. You're trying to push yourself to get better and get better and get better. The guy who we train with is so awesome. We're a weird homeschool family. He's also the father of a weird homeschool family and just knows so much about this and doesn't just teach you jujitsu, but tries to teach you life skills along the way and how to just conduct yourself and be a better person and learn how to learn, which is really cool. So I love studying under him.
Yeah. It changed my life when I started training. I was a little bit overweight, pretty strong, but didn't know anything about how to protect myself. And just years of training, jiu-jitsu has given me a confidence that I didn't have before, which has been really great. But the community that you get into, just like, your community of whatever you're into, the jiu-jitsu community has been really, really great for me. A lot of good friends there, and it's something that will keep you in shape. If you don't break your body and you keep stretched out and stuff, it's a great exercise for your body and for your brain. Learning how to get out of stuff, and it's been great. I love jiu-jitsu. It's my therapy. When we're on the road for a couple weeks and I don't get to roll, I like start having jiu-jitsu withdrawals.
I did jiu-jitsu for about a year.
Yeah, man.
Really?
Yeah, it was before I knew you. It was in high school.
Cool.
But my teacher was not like some awesome dude like you guys had. It was my neighbor.
Yeah.
And he rented out, it was a karate studio that he had a deal with the owners that he could teach after hours if he cleaned the place.
There you go.
And he also sold knives out of his apartment. And I thought knives were cool, and I was like 16, and I was like, man, I want to buy one of them knives. And he was like, you want me to teach you how to use it? And I was like, absolutely. And he's like, cool, we're going to start with jiu-jitsu, we're going to get into knife fighting. And I was like, all right. I was into it. So I took all these knife fighting classes with this guy after a while. And I remember one night we were in there and we're knife fighting, wooden knives.
Sure.
And he was like, in a real life situation, you wouldn't be in here. We'd be outside. And so we go outside. It's like 10 o'clock at night. And we go outside and we're practicing. Somebody saw us, I guess, because they called the cops.
Really?
And the cops come up like sirens blazing.
Yes.
And they just drive up and they're just like, come out. They're like, what's going on here? Like all just mad, like hands on their guns. And we're just like,
We're just playing.
It's so good, yeah. And we ended up like my teacher ended like arm wrestling the cop on the hood of his car. Like it was awesome, but it was wild. That's like my only like martial arts experience is like this 1 year of chaotic like jujitsu knife fighting extravaganza.
That's fun.
Love it.
Yeah, it was wild, but yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah,
It was fun to
man.
get into. You never done that, Ryan? Wow, what a loser. Never did
Wait, didn't you go with us to class once?
Karate. You did karate as a kid, right?
I did do karate. I didn't go to a class with you guys, but I did do karate when I was a kid.
We just filmed at the dojo.
Yeah, we filmed at the
dance.
dojo. Yeah. hmm
Kyle was so proud.
Yeah. Which is like an interesting sequitur. We were filming at your dojo to a dance. Why were we doing that?
Kickstarter.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh.
So I met you guys we figured this out the other day in 2016.
I think it was.
Remember pressing that button on the
Yeah, it's
camera?
the half shutter.
Yeah. So 2016,
Did that work, Wesley? Okay.
we
Yeah,
met at a writing group,
Yes.
and we just connected a little bit, and then later on, my old manager had connected with you, and you guys were talking about making. At least this is what I understand, because this is a little secondhand to me. That you guys were talking to her about looking for a producer, and she managed me, so she was super biased and was like, "Oh,
was.
just use this guy."
She's
and
very biased.
so
Worked out good.
we sat down and started having some conversations. I actually remember our first conversation about the potential of producing was over the phone.
Yes.
And we were, I was in San Diego at the time. I'd moved back. And so it was over the phone. And you guys were all like, it was my first experience of the Dawson Hollow camp of like 7 of you all around a speakerphone
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
doing a conference call. And we had a big, long conversation. And then we ended up meeting the next time I was in Nashville, I think at a Chipotle.
I think so.
And we talked about music and
And then we invited you to Missouri to come see a show.
yes. Yeah.
I think, and then
Yeah.
do some
January.
sample pre-production.
That's right. You were in San
So-
Diego at the time. I remember this
Yeah.
because we were like hanging out, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm driving to Missouri like right now. I got to be there in 30 hours or something." I was like, "Jesus,
That
Ryan."
was the end of the Kickstarter.
Oh, that was
But
the end of the Kickstarter. Okay.
So January 2017, I came out to Missouri and I saw you guys play at Boattown Brewery,
Hey, I think
Yes.
we're there
which is
next week.
We're going to be there this Saturday.
oh wow,
Woo. But yes, you did. That was our third show as Dawson Hollow.
oh wow.
We were still just, we're pretty sure we had the name. We were just trying stuff out. And so, yeah, you saw one of the very first shows.
And it was like a super enchanting show to be at because
That place was packed.
it was packed. Like how many
Yeah.
people were there? Like 200.
Yeah. and
crammed
I-
into that smallish room. Yeah.
It looked
Yeah.
massive.
It was awesome.
And we walked in and we like didn't know where to go. We had just driven from San Diego to Missouri, and all of a sudden we walk in and like people knew to be looking out for us, and we're like, and which actually was your husband,
Yes.
Matt, who wasn't your husband yet.
No.
I don't think he was in your fiance. He was like your
No.
boyfriend, Matt.
Yes.
And so boyfriend Matt found us. We didn't know. We thought he just like worked there, and he's like, "Here, come," and like showed us our seat, and then was like, "Do you want a beer to me?" And I was like, sure." And then he just like brought me a beer and was like on the house, and then we're like watching the show.
He did work there at the time.
Yeah, it was so we felt like very like VIP
VIP.
treatment. And then afterwards, people found us, and they're like, "The band still has to pack up and stuff, but we'll take you to where you're staying." And yeah,
AKA my house.
your house. Yeah,
Where you're staying.
yeah.
Sounds so proper.
Yes.
But the show, like, I mean, it was a hometown show, but like, it was packed, and everybody was like going nuts. Everybody was super into it, and the music you played, especially back then, it was a little bit different. It
More
was just
acoustic based.
it was more acoustic based, and a lot of like the 4 on the floor kick drum.
Yep.
Boom chuck, boom chuck, boom chuck, boom chuck. There was a lot of that.
And so, like, at a country brewery with 200 people, it was nuts.
It was crazy. I will forever remember that
Cherish.
night with it was very cherished memory. That was a good night.
So that was in January. We did like 3 days of pre-pro. We
Right.
We recorded
started recording
Hills and Roads, right?
Yeah. Because
Yes.
it was sort of the test to see if we worked well together.
Yes.
Yep.
Because we've tried working with some other producers, and the music that came out was crystal clean and beautiful, better than anything we'd done in the past. but it didn't sound like us, and we were struggling with that. And so we were looking for someone to take the journey with us to get the recording to sound and feel like us.
I think a lot of it revolves around the click track. Remember that? Like, we didn't want to use one because we had this natural ebb and flow with our music. We didn't want to have this beep, beep, beep in our ear the whole time. Since then, we've changed quite a bit, and we can now all play to a click track.
Ryan's like, take the click track away. We're like, no, we want it.
Give us your comforting click.
Yeah. But back in the day, that was a big deal for us. And
Which for people who don't do music, a click track is
It's a metronome.
It's
it's a metronome. The music
Exactly.
that they hear,
keeps
so
a
they can on
consistent
time.
click, so
Yes.
you can play to it. But kind of the thing that all of us agreed on was that you guys had been in this band for, at that point, how long? 15 years?
We had been playing together for
close.
14 or 15 years,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and
So you knew what you were about already. Helps a lot.
We knew how to play, but we didn't know who we were with music. Ryan got to walk through some muddy water with us.
Yeah.
A lot of late night phone calls.
Oof.
In the beginning, who did you want to be? Or who did you think you were?
We thought we would be Avett-ish with a double lead.
The Avett Brothers, for those
Yes.
keeping track at home.
Yes, we were very inspired by the Avett Brothers. Funny though, our dad was always giving us music. If we wanted to listen to something, he would find a way to buy us a CD or whatever. And so he'd heard great things about the Avett Brothers and bought us a couple albums. And we did not like it. We were just like, are you serious? This is bad. But then we gave it a chance, and now we're obsessed. And they are one of our
Huge influence
biggest
on us now.
influences and just amazing music. So that was an interesting turn. I feel the same way about Old Crow Medicine Show. None of the boys share my view. I think they're amazing.
I don't even know what that is.
You should look them up.
I'll look it
They
up.
are
I'll look it up
amazing.
for sure. Now I know that we do have to. Wesley, you can give me an update on the time, but I think we got to swap pretty soon out for the next
Yeah.
two members of the band.
But
We
we
got 3
do-
minutes.
But we do have a very important question.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we have one question that we do ask everybody.
Excellent.
Okay.
Which, everybody, if you're listening to this show, stick around. We still have many more Dawson Hollow members.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, we got 4 more coming.
And we're going to pick up the story kind of right where we just left off. But before we play, we're going to play a song. But before we do,
Yeah, but
the
before
question.
we do the
Yeah.
question, which is weird. We never do the question this early. But
we never
you know,
do. But
there's so many people.
We have to.
Yeah, we're doing it 3 times tonight. Don't tell
Okay.
them what the question is.
Okay,
right.
I will not.
But anyways, if you had to choose,
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm away from the mic.
yeah.
And you do.
And you do.
Okay.
Now, the important thing about this question is that the answer comes from the heart.
Yes.
Okay.
Not the
Not
head.
here. Not the head. That's right. That's what that is.
You guys are being really weird. You keep moving in, you're moving in your chairs and like
That's just because I just move
Sitting
around a lot.
up.
I just move around a lot.
I had to try. Wesley put on a Jaws theme for us, so I had to use
Yeah,
it.
we got to
thank
use
you,
it.
Wesley.
But if you had to choose,
And you do.
and you do. Now, I need the answer to come instant. No thinking.
Correct.
And you're
Don't
asking
think.
me first.
Both of you guys, same
Both.
answer, simultaneous.
Oh,
simultaneous.
I just
okay.
you're closer to me. That's why I'm looking at
Gotcha,
you more.
okay.
All right.
Now I'm only looking at you now. Instant answer.
Yeah.
We need no thinking. Just I say the question, you answer it 1 second or less.
Immediately.
All right, and you will have an answer. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
If you had to choose,
And you do.
and you do, what would you say is your favorite kind of turtle?
Soft shell.
Rachel, go.
Franklin.
Oh, that's new.
You
I've
guys,
never heard
those
that
were
one
both
before.
new
Those are
answers.
both new. We've asked so many people.
I
We
like
got so many
that.
repeated answers.
That was really
Softshell
good.
and Franklin.
Yeah.
We've gotten Ninja before.
Yeah.
Never
They're pretty cool.
Franklin. I'm impressed by that one.
Yeah.
Took you a minute to think about it, though. It's
It
a little
did.
disappointing.
I was just, yeah. You know the show, the episode on Friends where they're trying to list all the United States?
Yep.
But Phoebe gets sidetracked and starts naming kinds of celery?
Yes.
I kind of felt like Phoebe for a second.
Okay, I get that. I get
Like,
that.
Very distracted.
That's a great way to be. Phoebe's awesome.
I love Phoebe.
Me too. She's one of my favorites.
Why Franklin? Ooh,
I'm
the husband's
so
calling.
sorry.
Is this okay? Do you want to just silence that really quick?
I just
I'm trying to be like a
really-
normal podcast host.
I really just enjoyed Franklin as a kid. It was a good show.
Okay. It was a good show. I watched it as a kid. It was delightful.
It's cute. He learned little
He had
life lessons.
Animal friends.
When you said turtle, he was the first thing I saw.
That's perfect.
Talk to me about soft shell.
Now, soft shell, that's deep.
They taste better than snapping turtle.
Oh, it's perfect. We
Never had
got
anybody
soft shell.
talk about eating turtles
Yeah,
before
yeah.
either.
We've got a lot of box.
delicious.
We get a lot of box, a lot of snapping. We get those answers a lot.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Box turtles are awesome. My kids love them. Every time they come through the yard, they'll go out and play with them. And of
Do you have
course I did
people
too.
argue with you about tortoise and turtle and
We've had that a few times. Someone
Yeah.
will say like a tortoise. I'm like, it's not a turtle.
We were in Florida last winter, and this thing was like huge. It came running through this dude's yard that we were staying at his
and
at
it
his
was
place.
actually running.
It was
Like
so
like
fast.
just gunning it.
Trucking.
Like just and then he like went in this little sand burrow thing. I'm like, that was awesome.
Oh man.
Wow.
But
Yeah, we've learned on this show that literally every single human has an experience with a turtle. Every time we ask the question, someone's like, "Oh my god, you won't believe this one time I saw this turtle," and I'm like, "What?" Everybody, it's crazy, it's wild.
have you ever had turtle gumbo?
I never have. I don't think I've ever eaten turtle at all. I don't think.
It's good.
Is it good?
Yes.
I mean, that's what it tastes like. But everyone just says it tastes like chicken. No, that's not. That
No,
doesn't mean
it
anything.
doesn't. It just
Tastes like
tastes really
turtle.
good.
Okay, I'll have to give it a shot. I'll give
It's
turtle
like
a shot.
steaky fish.
I don't. All right.
I think there's technically like 7 different kinds of meat, like shades of meat in a turtle.
Really?
That's what
Like
I've
dark
heard.
meat, like medium dark,
Yeah.
extra dark, light,
Lighter, yeah.
lighter, extra lighter.
Yeah.
Well, with this, we need to go to the song. I want to say, first of all, don't tell any of them about the turtle
I will
question
not.
because
I
they're
will
all going to
not.
get it.
I'm
Yeah,
so excited
uh-huh.
to hear what they have to say.
And then finally, we're about to go play a song.
Yeah, what are we playing?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, Take Me There was our first single from album 1. And it was in its original form a very soft, gentle ballad. Ben and his guitar and his emotions. And then you're going to see what Ryan does to songs. When
Take me there.
we get
I
out
remember
there.
that.
Now it's rocking.
All right.
Awesome.
So here's Take Me There.
What's up, friends? We're Dawson Hollow. This song asks the question, what does home even mean? This is called Take Me There. There's no place like home, somewhere you can let your head down low. No place that I'd rather be than when you're here beside me. Oh, take me there, take me there. Looking for a place to call my own. Looking for a place where I belong. There's nothing in the world us in a place with somewhere in between. Maybe it's all the above, but truly I think it's who you love.
I know this is weird, Ryan, but
I was thinking the same thing.
okay. Should we just do the intro again?
Yep.
I'm gonna do it just like it's a fresh episode, like
Yes.
like this nothing else ever happened.
Is this the first time you've done like part?
Yeah, this is
with this-
brand
so
new.
What you're saying is this is Empire Strikes Back, the best part.
This is
okay,
part two.
okay. I'm not gonna. We're gonna get into that on the show. All right, we're getting into
I've
that.
opened the can.
on
We
the
haven't
show.
even gone yet.
I think this might be more of an Attack of the Clones. Or a last. No,
Okay,
this.
you shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
As
I
long
will
as
try
it's not
the
the
Last,
Last Jedi.
I'll take Last Jedi over Attack of the Clones any day.
What?
Any day.
We
Anyway,
have
let's
a
just
debate.
start.
Get
I
this-
think we're just. Are we
need
in
to
the
go.
episode?
We've got to go. We're already deep.
All right, here's the
We're
end. You ready?
All right.
You ready? You ready? You ready? I'm gonna do it just like it's a fresh episode.
Okay.
Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome to another episode of Music Or Hideout, the show where we hang out with artists, musicians, and entertainers in Waylon Jennings' old basement studio. As always, I am gathered here with co-host Ryan Poole, who I'll pass it to introduce the guest.
Well, tonight we are still here with Dawson Hollow. Dawson Hollow is a band made up of 5 siblings from Lebanon, Missouri. I did this better earlier. And
Sure.
so that was Take Me There. And for the
We did. We started with that.
yeah,
You mean the song?
we switched
Yeah,
it
the
up.
song. We just had a song. You
Yeah.
guys just
Yes,
played a
it
song
was.
before coming
Got
in
it.
here.
Okay,
I understand
If you
now.
remember.
The audio
know.
cue, the audio cue of that intro was not "Take Me There," so I was confused.
Yeah, that's what we
No,
were like.
that's just our intro.
Got it.
Yeah.
We're on the
There's
same
a nice-
wavelength
There's
now.
a nice little reverb trail right at the end of that. It was nice.
Yeah, you guys have been our intro since day one.
Love it.
And
Love it.
yeah, so we thought it would be funny to play the intro again since you guys didn't get to hear it
Perfect.
initially the first time.
So we just played Take Me There. Do you have anything to say about Take Me There?
It's a great song. You should listen to it on Spotify.
There's a music video.
Just rewind whatever you're enjoying this on and listen to it again.
Oh, yeah. We need to say their names.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We are
Good
the
call, Wes.
nameless. We are they who must not be named.
Yeah. Yeah, so just joining us now is Ben and Aaron, who are next in line of the ages.
order.
The birth order.
Yes, we are the middle children.
So Rachel, then Kyle, then Ben.
Middle children.
We share that role.
Let's talk
too.
about that.
It's supposed to be a little weird. Got some, you know what I mean?
You're looking at
a
it.
little,
You're looking at it.
a little bit more issues there than the others. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we can dive into that.
There's like,
Yes.
well, you always have, not always, but generally the older siblings, the parents are like, we got to do this right.
Right.
And then by the last kid, they're like, whatever.
They're over it.
And then middle kids, you kind of get this mixed bag of
Who knows?
yeah, you never know.
Just rolling the dice, see what
Yeah.
pops up.
You're also like, hey, I exist too. I exist too.
I was just a little bit more annoying about that than you probably.
You know, each person a little varied.
Now, you guys have a weird thing of being double middle children. Explain that.
Is true.
Right. There's lots of y'all.
So there's 5. So technically, I'm third.
You're
So
dead
that's
center.
middle. So I'm dead center. But we say
Rachel and Kyle, the first people on the podcast, they were born like fairly close to each other, and then a long period of time went on, and then the 3 piglets popped out: Ben, me, and John. And so Ben's technically
Aaron's
the middle child.
kind of actually the middle kid.
I'm the middle child of the second,
The second batch.
the second
So you're number
litter.
4?
Yeah.
You're number 4.
Yes.
Second litter.
So your mother was a cat.
So what I'm hearing is you're center and you're
Yes.
right of center.
Yes.
Yes.
Just kidding.
Assistant to the general manager.
You know, I actually just me and my wife just started watching The Office from scratch. She's never
Yeah.
seen it.
Wow.
I've
just-
seen it, like,
just
6 times.
now watching it.
Yeah, so we're just
I'm
we just hit season 4.
So you're getting to watch it with her and see how she responds
Yeah.
to.
Whoa.
And you know what I
That's super-
learned that I never knew about The Office? The first season
Was terrible.
sucks.
So
I didn't
bad.
realize it.
Oh.
And then rewatching it, she was like, "This show sucks. Why does everybody like this?
And you're like, just give it
Just give it a
time.
minute. Give it a minute. It's only
space.
6 episodes in the first season.
Just give it space.
It's bad.
It's
It's
real
bad.
It's so cringy. It's like painful to watch.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
if you haven't watched it in a while, you go back to season 1. Go and
Yeah.
just rewatch season 1.
It's
Oh,
true.
It's hard. It's a hard life.
It's true.
Same thing with Parks and Rec, though. If you guys are Parks and Rec
It's
fans, which is the
terrible.
superior
Really?
sitcom.
I haven't watched first season in a long
Excuse
time.
you?
No. The Office is so much more.
Wait,
so much
which
more
one did you
nuanced.
watch first?
The Office.
Okay,
But
yeah,
you
same.
prefer Parks and Recs.
I do prefer Parks.
Parks
Yeah.
and
What?
Recs, plural. Parks and
yeah,
Rec.
me too.
I feel like
Interesting.
Parks and Rec is much more clean and like less believable. They're still really,
It is
really
less
good.
believable.
It's a little more over the
100%.
top.
And I feel like at the
humor
end,
Sebastian.
at the end
Yeah.
of, I have cried during the show. At the end of Parks and Rec, it feels like they just kind of like put a bow around everything on everybody's character development. It was still
Sure.
good and it was still
But that's
compelling.
the last season, right? If you discount the last season. Because
It's
that
still-
wasn't supposed to exist. It was supposed to end the season before, and
That
they had a
is true.
great ending. And then they just wanted more money, so made another season.
That's true.
That was like 10 years later or
It
something.
felt that. It was
Yeah.
yeah. I just feel like The Office through and through, except for the first season.
and
is
the last
just-
3.
Okay, even though
Or the last 2, or whenever Michael
they're
left.
still okay. Even
They
though
had
Michael,
to find their bearings, but they found it. I just gotta say, the last few they had to recreate the dynamic, but once they did, it's like a different show, but it's actually
Yeah.
great.
So I like when they brought James Spader in. He was cool.
Yeah.
But when Andy was in I hate that guy.
Me too.
It's
But
like
that's
real
one
life.
of the dynamics.
It's got ups and downs, you know.
It is.
The thing about Andy is, the thing about Michael is he's the worst. But then the next five seconds later, you're like, I love him and I understand him.
Right. Because he means well. You always
Yes.
know he
Yeah.
doesn't do it right, but he means well.
Yes. With Andy,
Ugh.
that dynamic is not there.
He does not mean well.
No, and that's why, and I think that's one of the reasons why Dwight was able to kind of become less of the. He was never a bad guy, but he was always that extreme wild card.
Right.
And so Dwight against Andy, Dwight kind of became a
Like the
little
good
bit more
guy.
stable. Yeah,
he became the good guy. Yeah, you're right. There's
Yeah.
a dynamic there.
and Andy became the
Interesting.
bad guy. Anyways,
I'll have to
Yeah.
see it when we get back through. When we get up there, I'll see if it's
Yeah.
the same. If I
You have
feel
to let
that
us
way
know
now, I will.
the last 3 seasons,
But
how they
Parks-
land for you.
Parks and Rec had a zine Aziz.
Yeah, it's true.
Aziz.
I think he's funny, but I don't think he's that funny.
Okay, well, I
And
mean,
then-
you're
I'm
wrong.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean, his last stand-up special wasn't. Oh yeah, you gotta hit the sound. We have a sound.
I don't know what
It's this one on the second one. No, next page. Next page.
Aziz is not that funny.
There you go.
Yeah.
I do like him, but I don't know.
Okay, well, I will say, I mean, as far as a stand-up comedian, his most recent special I was not a big fan of,
I don't think I've seen it. So,
but the first two are phenomenal.
Okay.
And if you've seen those and don't think he's that funny, you're just wrong. You just don't get comedy.
okay, I haven't seen his stand up.
Oh, you should.
Now, in one of my greatest tie-ins of all time, you once met one of the characters from Parks and Rec.
Whoa!
And it was
right.
associated with the release of your first album. Now, the song we just played, "Take Me There," was from your first album.
Yes, it
It was
was.
the first
And
track,
when we
right?
left with Rachel and Kyle, we had just gotten to the Kickstarter of Making Boy in My Youth.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Dude, I'm good.
You're so good.
Good.
He brought that in.
was
Don't worry, I'll derail it in a minute.
Flawless.
I'm always like
I'll
two
bring us back
steps to
to
Dawson
movies.
Hollow.
You're like Kevin Bacon.
Exactly. By the way, did you know that I have a bacon meter of
Here we go. Here we go.
2?
Wow.
Yeah. You know the
Wait.
game 6 Steps to
Seven.
cut Kevin Bacon?
Yeah.
7 degrees.
7?
You got
Oh,
two.
some
6
people need
steps?
7 degrees.
7
Whatever.
I
degrees
thought
to
it was
Kevin
like
Bacon.
3.
So some people
Wow.
are 7 degrees to Kevin Bacon. I'm
Okay.
2 degrees to Kevin
2.
Bacon. Yes.
And how does that go, Ryan?
Well,
Button.
I believe you meant. That's right, I am 2 degrees to Kevin Bacon. And thanks to me, all of you present today are now 3 degrees to Kevin
Wow.
Bacon.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Thank
Yeah.
you
Wait,
for your
that's how that works.
contribution.
Yeah.
Math.
Because we were on a podcast with Ryan, who was on a
On a really independent, shitty movie that never came out
who was with
a star named Beth Littleford,
Who was
in
on?
a movie with Kevin Bacon.
Wow.
Yeah.
there it is 2 degrees.
Ben, we're one person away from Chris Pratt. We're one person away from Leslie Knope.
Oh.
We're
No,
one.
that's 2
That's
degrees.
true. Oh,
That's
yeah.
2 degrees.
Oh, two.
Because
So we're gonna get to that. We're gonna
Yeah,
get to
sorry.
this the Parks and Rec star that you guys met and who interacted with Dawson Hollow. But first, take me to the Kickstarter and the creation of Boy in My Youth. That's what I want to talk about. And also, Aaron, bring your mic a little closer to your
Okay.
face.
Sorry.
Ooh, podcast vibes.
It
right there.
moves to you.
Oh.
Just pull it to you.
Oh.
But also, don't forget,
Oh.
you're not leaving till we talk about Star Wars.
Okay. Yeah. We have something. We
One
have.
agenda, 2 agenda. We can do this. We can do this.
Try to weave it all in there. Okay, so we did a
Music,
Kickstarter.
Luke Skywalker.
So we were talking with Rachel and Kyle about how we're getting ready to make your music. We had done Hills and Roads, and y'all liked working with me, and I liked working with you. And we're like, let's make music. And then you guys were like, awesome, we want to make a full-length album. I'm like, that's great. I have to make full-length albums to stay alive. And you were like, here's the catch. We have no money. Do you know how to have money? And I was like, I know how to have money. We'll raise money through this new online tool called Kickstarter. What was it like for you as a band to raise money on Kickstarter?
It was an interesting transition of like a season of transition. So like everything was literally changing for us. Just like we had known a certain way of touring, a certain way of life, and we were like rebooting and re-evolving and recreating. So it was a lot of just transforming at that point. So we grew up where like you work hard and that's the money you have and that's what you get and that's all you have. So to ask for money for a cause was a bit of a stretch for us at first. But I remember once we locked in, like, no, we believe in these songs and we believe they're worth being backed. We went all out. So it was the biggest thing we had tried to accomplish at that point for sure. So it was a lot jammed into a very short amount of time.
Can you tell us about some of the hijinks? And feel free, both of you, spit out like some of the weird things we did to try to raise money.
We did a live stream in a barn.
That's true. Yeah.
We did. We
With
literally
no
were like, hey,
electricity.
if we raise
That was
X
the one
amount
I
of
was there for, right?
dollars,
Yeah.
we will chop off beards.
Yeah.
Why would
We
you
will
do
chop beards because you got to raise money. You
We
gotta
sold
make
our
music.
cousin a hammer
over a live stream.
for I can't remember. I think it was like $10. or something.
Sold him a hammer.
Sold him a hammer.
He was like, "I'll buy that hammer." It was Chad.
Thank you, Chad, for sponsoring this album.
Did he ever get the hammer?
I think so.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
And what's crazy about the economics of making records and how we went over the top with that first record, like, so we rented a lot of gear, from vintage gear from a rental place in Los Angeles, and just one of those many things was like $600 for the week. One of many things.
Yeah.
So if you think about selling a hammer for $10,
Wow.
it paid for like, what is that?
We gave our
math
cousin
guy.
a
3 minutes?
really
No.
good.
3 minutes.
Gave our
can't do the
cousin
math at
a
this
really
point.
good deal for that hammer. Then.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I don't know what hammers go for nowadays. I don't know the hammer
now
economy.
you have no idea.
It's true.
But what's,
like a good deal.
what's nuts about the Kickstarter is like people are contributing. Some people contributed a lot of it. Some people
Yeah.
did $500 or $1,000, and some people even a lot more.
Yeah.
But like a huge chunk of the money is made up of people's like $10 to $20 donations.
Yeah.
And it's the combined effort of several hundred people that allows us to make like a really cool record. We talked with Kyle and Rachel how we did the dance video at the Dojo Studio.
Oh, that was so lit.
The Hills and Roads
Hills and aerobics.
Yeah.
That was an aerobics, baby.
That was back when that like 80s aerobic video was like super viral.
That's right.
But
So like literally anything, we would sell hammers or dance in a jiu-jitsu studio.
we did do
You
that.
gotta do what you gotta do to make music.
That was also
Yeah.
like in a barn thing. We did a lot of things in barns, apparently.
Big
A lot of
fans of
barns.
barns around here.
People get married in barns. People do jiu-jitsu in barns.
Wow. I've never
the
done
Missouri
either of
vibe.
those things in barns. I don't even know if I've even been in a barn, to be real. I can't, probably, but I can't think of a barn experience I've had in my life. But I've ridden horses, so I assume they were in a barn. So I'm at least 2 degrees to a barn.
You're 2 degrees to a barn.
Did we have our panda? Did we have Carl
Yes.
during the
Yes.
Kickstarter?
Carl.
You guys have a panda?
So we
We had a
That's
panda.
illegal.
Well,
Okay, so first of all, it's made out of. I almost said fur. No.
Like all pandas
like
are.
most.
I got this ginormous panda. So I
Like
don't even
Valentine's
remember.
sale or something.
I think so. I think I got it for Rachel. And I don't even remember why. I can't remember why. But we have this ginormous panda, and I'll never forget after the Kickstarter, or after we spent a lot of time with you. I remember you made a video. We left on we left for like
For
a
a tour or
weekend thing or
something.
something, and you made a video of because you stayed at our house for like another day after we left, and you made a video of you and the panda just reminiscing the whole Kickstarter experience, and it was hilarious.
like made the panda dance.
Uh-huh.
He did his own hills and aerobics.
The like premise of the video was like the unsaid thing was I miss you guys so much, and the way I showed that was by like me and Carl pretending that we
everything.
were doing all the things, hanging out with Dawson Hollow like you guys hadn't left, and it was just like a really sad. And then we had Leah filming it,
But it was
and she
endearing.
pretended that she was filming me do these things like without
like,
me knowing.
Like you're in a lone show or something.
It was
It honestly had the Office cinematography vibes.
and that's how I do sales. So you're still my clients 5 years later. Seems like videos work.
Got him.
I don't know what button to click, but it feels like a button moment.
Maybe this
so-
one.
Just-
How do I make it stop?
Well, hey guys,
There we go. Let's all
Hey
show
guys, what's going on?
oh yeah, just hold on the fader.
There we go.
I thought you just hit
Crazy.
the button, it would stop, but
Yeah.
it didn't work for that one.
I'll never forget one time we were doing this fundraiser for the Kickstarter. And I had been, like we had said, asking people for money is weird with the way that we grew up.
What was the
And-
paradigm shift for us?
Yeah. And I'll never forget, I was told, hey, take this bucket and all of your friends have arrived. Go ask them for money. And like we had done stuff online, live streams, and it's like it was through an online presence. And then I just remember when it was you in real life having to do that. That was, I'll never forget, like, I was just standing in a corner at one point, just, I don't want to do this. This feels so awkward. But then we each had our little hill that night. I remember that's the night that we tried to raise enough money to cut off our dad's beard.
Talking about beards.
And I don't think did we
Which
cut
he
it off?
had an
He had a
exquisite beard.
huge
Yeah.
beard. Like,
we were all watching Duck Dynasty at the time because that was a thing to do
Back
back
when that
in
was big.
Right.
2017. And yeah, that's why my dad had a big beard. And we almost cut it off
But
for
you
money.
didn't?
I don't think we did.
Does he still have it? Because that's a good way to tell.
no, he ended up cutting it.
Yeah. Yeah. He kept it for a long time though.
Well,
Yep.
the way it was structured was like save it or shave it.
That's right.
and people voted by their donations, and it was
That's
like
what it was.
$100 donations.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people donate $100, and now there's one vote toward shave it. So somebody else goes and saves it, and we kept people
And it was,
updated
like,
throughout
back
the
and
day.
forth.
Yeah, and there's some people that with the beard, that with a very long beard on a guy, like. There's some people who vehemently hate it and
Yeah.
want him to take it away.
Yeah.
And there's some people who love it deeply and could not imagine him without it.
Right. And you just
people
want
got
to
into
play
it.
It was
off their
perfect.
And you're supporting a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that beard raised like at least $1,000, maybe
Yeah.
a few $1,000s. Yeah.
My beard's never made that much money. I'm
That's the goal.
slacking.
Now, when all was said and done, how much money did you raise?
I believe it was 98 was the official number.
Dollars?
Yeah.
Wow.
$98.
That's so much.
Dollars.
I don't even. I never saw
I think
any of it.
unofficially it was like 103,000 somewhere
Wow.
around there.
That's
$103,000.
Yeah,
That's wild.
yeah. We're like, it was there were points where we're like, okay, are we gonna actually do this thing? Because with Kickstarter, I believe is
You got to hit the goal, right?
you have to hit it or it just doesn't happen.
Yeah. What was the initial goal set at? You remember? That was a while back.
Well, we had so
Wasn't it
part
like
of it was
30?
like how it-
40,000.
40?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then-
double.
What happened?
Yeah, that's wild.
What
Well,
happened
we
to all of
we
it?
did some offline, some online kind of thing, was the approach. But I just had this gut feeling, and this isn't just because it's after the fact. I'm like, this is gonna happen. Even when it was like with every like crowdfunding thing, you're getting close to the date, and it's like boom, and then like the last second, paper's like, oh yeah, I forgot to do that 28 days ago. This is the last day. I guess I'll do it.
Right. Yeah. I feel like I got plenty of time.
Yeah.
And I kept seeing your posts in my Facebook, and I
Yeah.
accidentally muted you.
Accidentally.
Yeah, it's a really nerve-wracking process.
Yeah,
And
sure.
you have all of you guys are having to post all the time. You're always concerned that people are going to get mad at you.
Sure.
I've gone through it with a bunch of different artists, and I've also been with artists who didn't succeed at it.
Yeah.
And had like just a bitter end where they worked really hard,
Yeah.
saw some money come in, and it seemed like maybe it would work. And all the way to the end, you try to hold on hope and work and fight that discouragement, and then it doesn't work. And then you're just like devastated afterwards because you've put all your dream, like this is
Yeah.
about your dream. But luckily with you guys, it was, there was a big stretch of time where you weren't sure if it was going to work. Different members of the
Yeah.
band with 5 people.
Yeah.
And then the family members were involved. And back then you had just come out of being Link Union. So there's,
A lot writing on it.
there was a lot writing on it.
Which it's interesting for me and how I kind of perceived playing music and doing what we did. It was never like we never wrote on one thing like, okay, we have to do this or else it like all kind of it was always like there's going to be another gig. There's going
Yeah.
to be another one, and that's just honestly I still kind of carry that mindset of like, yeah, this is great, we're all here, this is awesome, but like there's going to be another thing, and it's to like emotionally change that mindset of like this it didn't feel like ride or die, but it kind of did.
Yeah.
Which was for a teenage boy at the time who was like experiencing new feelings and new perspective on that. I remember there was a few days that it was like
under my arms? I have to raise $103,000.
too much for me. This is too much. Yeah, I remember that was a change in just life pacing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big shift
Yeah.
to just all of a sudden have all this money to make this record.
Yeah. Well, I think we had kind of built support over the years, more than we thought we did. So at times we're like, are we going to pull this off? We had this massive support from so many people that we were like blown away. Like, wow, I had no idea that we had already made this amount of impact for people to be like, yes, I believe in that. I want to see those songs come to fruition. And that was like the cherry on top of the whole thing. It was like just knowing people had our back. We're like, we want you to, thrive. That was super cool. And then transitioning from that into actually recording the music in Montana was like the next like thing that was just, everything was pointed towards the specific vision of, we want to go to Montana, we want to record, we want to like not necessarily go. And at that point, our experience was like glossy studio, kind of sterile experience. Not necessarily sterile, it's just there was a process. You're the next client, boom, next thing. And the idea of kind of breaking all that was what we were wanting to do, and that kind of led to Montana.
Yeah. So talk about that. Like, how did you actually go about recording your record?
So
You tell us.
we can kind of popcorn back and forth here.
Yeah.
But the vision was we wanted to set up like pseudo in nature, like get away from everything and just make the music. So we ended up in Montana in a ranch house, which you had connections to, and we set up for 2
Deep
weeks.
connections.
Deep connections.
It's my grandma's ranch.
Yeah. So, well, how about you give the context for the actual geographical? Yeah.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, my grandma has a ranch in Montana, and it's really beautiful. It's a really beautiful area. You have a view of the Rocky Mountains. There's a pond on it, and a lot of nature land and horses and all sorts of stuff. So it's just like a really cool. It's just a cool, peaceful place to be. And they have a pretty big living room that's all wood, which makes it pretty good for acoustics. And there's a piano there. And so the idea was, because you guys were, especially back then in the original Dawson Hollow, was like folk oriented or heavily folk oriented.
Right.
It seemed like the perfect thing to like have this big view of the Rocky Mountains because there's big glass windows and be, in a nice room. But to do that, we had to bring tons of equipment. And so, like we said, we rented a bunch of vintage recording equipment in LA. And then also I brought my own stuff, and we turned the ranch into a recording studio. And the idea was that it would be a really organic way to record. And we sat down and we did 2 weeks. I think it was 14 days. It might have been more than that.
It was 14 days, but we took 1 day in the middle to go to Yellowstone.
It was lit.
Jinx. So it was technically 13 days, but basically 2 weeks that we were there. Like, yeah.
So what was that process like for you guys?
So we set up everything, and then I just remember jumping in, just like, hey, let's start with this song, and we'd get the bones, you take it to a certain point, and then move to something else, and like we just worked through the record
Really fast, before we even got to Montana, before we met Ryan, I remember we had two of the songs that are on the album. I think it was Feel My Love, and was it Hills and Roads, or was it I'll Be Honest?
Just Be Here.
Be Here, yeah. I remember we worked with this other guy, and it was just like in a professional studio. And I remember we had all the toys and gadgets, and we recorded them, and we listened back, and it was like, it's just kind of
technically
stale.
the best we'd ever sounded,
Yes.
but it was just kind of void of life.
And I remember whenever we met Ryan, that was one of the things that you two connected over, is like not using a click track. Whoa.
This feels like deja vu.
Yeah, we literally just talked about the click
Kyle,
track.
really?
Yeah. The whole thing.
Formative conversation.
Yeah. Apparently that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Apparently, wow.
And then we went, before the Kickstarter, I think, we had a week of pre-production that we took all of the songs through.
12 days, actually.
Was that 12 days of
We
pre-production?
did 12 days of pre-production where all we did, we had a day per song, and all we did was work on one song all day, and then the next day we worked on the next song. And none of it was being finally recorded. It was just we were working them out.
Right.
And advancing them.
And as a 4-wing 3, I remember that process.
Enneagram.
Yeah, we need an Enneagram sound effect.
Yeah, we also talked about the Enneagram with them as well.
But that was off air.
Oh, was it? Was
Yeah.
that not when we
We
recorded?
didn't record that.
Yeah.
The process of like pushing a piece of work towards a thing, but then not finalizing it as a 4-wing 3, I remember killed me. It's like we can't feel good about anything we've done because we can't put a check mark on it.
But back then, you were a 4-wing 3 who had never heard of the Enneagram. So you were
Yes.
just a guy.
You were just a
you were just
human
Aaron.
being.
I know.
Some random dude.
A full guy who, yeah.
A numberless man, lost in the world, adrift in his emotion, with no clue what he was.
I mean, I was a teenager, so you're not too far off.
Yes.
Teenagers feel like middle schoolers to me now.
Yeah. Do you ever meet
And-
like a 19-year-old and you
Yeah.
think they're like 11?
Yeah, and it's just like,
Yes.
wait, what?
Yes.
And then there's college age like 22-year-olds, and I'm like, no, you're 18. You're
at best.
like, yeah. Anyways, I just think that's funny what age does to you. And then all of that being said, we get to Montana, just wanting to completely go about the recording process as different as possible.
Well, depending on each song. So, like, for example, Lonesome Wolf was like locked into a click and had all these like synth elements, so it was like locked in. Whereas something like Hills and Roads or Feel My Love or even Balmy was more of an organic, earthy sound. So we would track all in the room together, sometimes without headphones, usually without click track, and we'd build it. I don't know, more just a more traditional way, so that it would breathe and it would ebb and it would flow. Like I remember a specific moment where we were doing Fire and Flood. We were trying to get the perfect take, and we had done a bunch, and it was like almost there, but we never like finished one. Was like that was it, and there was this eagle.
Wait, to slightly correct you, we had
Rude.
one. We
did have one?
where we were like, "Oh yeah, I think that was it," and it was a little more up tempo, and we were like,
yeah.
that felt good, and then
Wow, I forgot about that.
and then for some reason we like took a break and we just decided like to try one more time, and then
Wow, I've been telling the story from stage incorrectly for like 4 years.
there was
We
a
did
take
have
that
a
we're
take.
like, oh yeah,
I now remember that.
that was good.
That
And
was
for
great.
some reason we decided to go one more time. But Fire and Flood in specific, every single time we did it, because from the beginning, that song, the lyrics you had written, like to me,
Just
it
embodied.
and I actually showed that to Wesley. Wesley, please go to the Wesley cam. I showed that song to Wesley back in my studio in San Diego, and Wesley was like, "Ooh, I dig this song. It reminds me of like all the folk music I used to listen to."
Yeah.
And so that song in particular, it was one of the first ones I heard from you guys. And lyrically, as I got to know you and your story, I was like, "This is the story of your family."
Yeah.
And then as we were talking about it during pre-production, like it seemed like you didn't see it that way, or you had forgotten, or you guys were like, I don't know, maybe this lyric's a little funny, maybe I should change it. And I was just like, and I remember having like a passionate speech showing you on a whiteboard, like, this is what this means, this is what this means, this is the story of your family. You cannot change it. It is gold. And so every time before we did that song, we had a whole toast that we did. And we would talked about how like this song is going to be for our grandkids and for our
generations.
and for the generations and great kids. And we had this whole like speech we would give to try to make it feel really, really special. Like what we do next is going to last for eternity. Here we go.
Yeah.
Because we were searching for like a magic take. And we had one that we thought like, you know what? That was pretty good. Maybe that's about as good as it's going to get. And then
Eagle. We looked out. Well, okay, so
We
the
don't have an
living
eagle
room.
sound effect.
Yeah.
It's like, "Ah!"
So there's these huge windows off the living room, and I remember we looked out and we were like, okay, I'm just gonna play guitar real soft and kind of like try to get us in a headspace, and then go into it like one more time. And we looked out and there's this eagle soaring. So I remember like matching the eagle's height with like energy and dynamic. Like the eagle would soar higher and I'd get louder and faster, and he'd come down. I'd get slow and just like more meditative. And like I think the eagle came down and landed, and that was the take. Like we went in And we ended
as
up,
it landed, you like let the chord ring out like.
and then started. And I had forgotten before that point. It started a little more upbeat, right? And then from that became the part, slow intro kind of thing, and that was the take. I don't remember specifically if it finished and we're like, that was it. But I
1,000,000,000% we
okay,
did.
I do remember us being like, that was different and like special.
No, we knew. I don't know if you knew yet. I knew.
You knew.
But I think everybody knew because right afterwards, there's this whole long pause on the tape.
Oh yeah.
As we're like letting everything ring out, and then all of a sudden Kyle goes.
That was freaking awesome.
Did you see that eagle?
Is that the name of the show now?
It was
The name of
just-
this episode is
maybe.
"Did you see that eagle?"
Yeah, probably. You're like, it was just soaring. And I later on in one of the first versions of the track I gave back to you guys to listen to, I
Yeah.
like edited at the end of the track. There's a
The,
hidden
like,
track.
The Eagle Power remix.
Yeah, I like remixed all of his voice samples over like a beat, like. and eagle.
Now I know we got to swap out to the next pair in about 10 minutes ish. But before that, on top of being in this band, right, doing big things,
I see what you're doing.
you guys are also massive nerds.
Yes.
That's I don't know if that extends to everybody or just y'all.
No.
Is that everybody?
Not everybody.
I mean, us.
Everybody's nerdy to a degree.
The
Sure,
three piglets.
different levels of nerdism.
The three piglets are all very nerdy in their own way, and then
More nerdy.
Kyle can get pretty nerdy,
Yeah.
like to his own extent, and then Rachel just forgets that she's seen movies. Like she will watch
She
an
calls it a
entire
gift.
movie.
She's like, I've never seen this, and then the ending surprises her, and she's like, oh yeah, I have seen this. She's like, it's a blessing.
But so I've heard some things I think from Ryan like a while back about Lord of the Rings.
Don't get me started.
So Aaron in his teenage years literally wore like the Ring of Power around him.
Massive nerd, got it.
Yeah, that's.
Absolutely huge.
I wore it on my right index finger.
But as I say that, I literally showed you my Mace Windu lightsaber hilt before we started the podcast.
True, which is really where I'm going with all this, because we almost got in a little bit of an argument about Star Wars right before we
That's
started
true.
recording, and I was
Yeah.
like, absolutely not. We're saving that shit for the show.
Yeah.
Because I can talk about Star Wars all day.
Okay.
But you were saying the best movie is Empire.
Well, did I?
Well,
What?
I think
was
it's one of the-
implying
maybe
that?
you were implying that, but I don't know. I don't know what you think. That's what I'm here to find out.
so
If I had, this is yeah. Do you have
So-
thoughts on this?
So I think one of the best. I think the best Star Wars can be found
Christmas
in the
special.
End. Yes.
Oh God, I forgot that even existed.
Yes.
I think the best Star Wars, not movie, but just like the best
Ooh.
like Star Wars thing.
Okay, before you say it, because I have when I say my favorite Star Wars movie, it starts just the same way. And if you say the same thing that I believe, I'm gonna be. No one else has ever had this thought.
Okay.
Do
we do like
how
a
you
3,
say
2,
it
1?
together.
No, because it's
Yes.
like a lot of words. It
Oh,
doesn't
yeah,
really make
okay.
any sense.
All right,
Talk
Jerry,
us
if
through
you
it.
have to
Time.
choose.
It is the best Star Wars is the third act of Revenge of the Sith.
Oh no, that's not the same at all. You're just wrong.
No. Okay, okay, that's my favorite. We can all have our own opinions.
No, we can,
What's
but some
yours?
opinions are wrong.
It's true. Very true.
So here's the deal: the best Star Wars,
Okay, like movie or like
kind of, you'll see,
Okay.
is the second half of Empire Strikes Back, followed
Oh.
by the first half of Return of the Jedi. That
Okay.
makes up the best movie length period of Star Wars.
okay.
Because Empire
Didn't know
itself,
we were allowed to remix movies.
Yeah.
well, because here's the deal: Empire itself,
Lucas
Empire's
would not
great, right?
approve.
Empire's great. You like Empire?
Hoth,
right?
Yes.
You were making.
he comes in.
I don't like the Hoth stuff so much.
Oh, really?
No, I like the
They
second
figured
half.
out how to make the
Okay.
matte lines go
Okay.
away.
Because Yoda's definitely part of the best, right?
Yeah,
Obviously, the
for
Yoda,
sure.
the Jabba storyline, right? Which really doesn't start in earnest until Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Right, because
True.
of that opening scene with Luke walking up there, right? That really starts, and that walking up scene is the first time that you look at him and you're like, "Oh, he's a Jedi."
Yeah.
Yep.
And that, like, it should, in my opinion, is like the quintessential moment. Though now with all the new content we have, I'm like, he wasn't a Jedi, not even close.
Yeah.
But that was it.
I
But
think-
nobody ever agrees with me on that. Is the
I
problem.
think he actually met up with Ahsoka in between Empire Strikes Back and Jedi.
That's
the-
not canon.
No.
No.
It's not. But she is alive in the
Okay.
in the timeline, and eventually they do like they have met up before, like in Boba Fett.
I haven't watched it yet, which is weird. I know. It's because I only watched that with my wife, and
Okay.
we have to like catch up on every other show
Yep,
we're watching.
yep,
Okay,
yep,
yeah,
I
yeah,
get
yeah.
that. I get
Yeah.
that. I think what is the best Star Wars question? Is that the best question? Or is it like
That's just like the basic question.
okay,
right?
okay,
Right, right.
okay.
You know what I mean?
But this has been my experience. Depending on your first exposure to Star Wars, that is your favorite.
Yeah.
So if you grew up with the originals, generally you hate the prequels.
Yeah.
If you grew up with the prequels, like I did, being born 95, those were coming out as I was like becoming a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge fan of the sequels.
Yeah.
But I love
Can we agree that the sequels should be written out of canon?
It depends.
The
So
sequels meaning the newest
the,
ones?
the,
Yeah.
the third trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Kylo Ren. Rey's fine. Finn is the most underrated.
Who they never did anything with.
I know that he had the
So much
best
potential in the
setup
first
in
one.
the first one. I loved him. He was.
I will say the first one is
The first one's
It's
dope,
good.
but
It's
that's only because it's copy and paste of A New Hope.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's true.
It is a finely well
well,
made
here's the thing.
movie.
With Lucas, everything is supposed to rhyme, not directly be a copy paste.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fair.
And
Now-
like
now that being said, Lucas is not.
He's not
He's
perfect.
not a great filmmaker, like as far compared to like
So,
the greats.
We were talking about this yesterday about Lucas. Like Lucas is a mixed bag. I just finished the ILM, like the Light and Magic documentary
On Disney
about.
Plus. Have you seen this yet?
Light
haven't, no.
and
It's
magic.
so good.
It's really
It's
good.
about like the special effects team that did all the Star Wars and then became ILM that did Raiders of the Lost Ark and on into Jurassic Park and then literally invented the Pixar machine that
wow.
now became graphics as we know it. So it's really interesting. But you kind of get a peek at the geniusness of Lucas. He saw how everything was going to go digital 10 years before everybody else.
Okay.
But he even in the documentary, he's like, I'm not the greatest writer. Like he himself was like, I have a vision for what this world
He's
is
very
supposed to be.
resourceful.
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
than like I mean, he essentially did what you guys did for his movie.
Right.
He essentially had the
Right,
equivalent
exactly.
of a Kickstarter back then.
Yeah.
You know?
But everybody loves Empire Strikes Back. Mm-hmm. He didn't direct it, right? Like that
Right.
was someone else. So it's kind of finding that balance. But it's kind of what you choose to see, like whether he was like way ahead of his game or nitpicking, I hate sand, it's coarse and it gets everywhere.
Oh my god.
Like, you know what I
Okay,
mean? It's
but
kind of
here's the thing
where
with
you stay.
The prequels though, because you grew up. So that was that your first Star Wars experience was prequels. Both y'all. Or-
well, I think
I-
technically I saw
Maybe you had
New
seen
Hope
it,
as like a
sure.
Yeah.
little kid.
But
Right.
then,
But
the, but
I
then the
remember
new ones
going
came
to
out.
Revenge of the Sith, like opening night with like an Obi-Wan lightsaber.
no,
like,
it was Mace
on my-
Windu.
No, well, oh yeah, it was Mace Windu, but it was the Obi-Wan.
Because you want that purple
Oh, okay,
saber.
okay.
I had the purple, but it
That's
was the
dope.
Obi-Wan hilt, whatever. But I remember going and seeing it at midnight, and it was like a formative moment
Yeah.
in my childhood. So for me, at my age demographic, whatever, the prequels are like some of my favorites.
Really?
But you'll also see that the next generation loves the sequels. And we're sitting here going, that's a hot mess of garbage.
I haven't
Well,
seen it.
Every generation.
I'm not with you on that 100%.
Okay.
I don't.
I liked the sequels better than the prequels.
I liked
Wow.
It depends on the sequel. What? Depends on the sequel. Because here's the thing. I remember I saw the first prequel.
Okay.
Okay. I saw that in theaters.
Same.
7 times.
You watched Phantom Menace?
7 times in theaters.
Darth Maul. Blah, blah.
I waited in line every time. And at the time, I had a rat tail. Oh, that
That used to be one of our things.
we used to do that all the time.
It's so good.
And that
I could get
scene
him to do that if I
specifically-
started going.
That scene specifically is perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Phenomenal. Best
It's like
choreography.
a core memory of my childhood.
Oh,
was
yeah.
seeing that for the first time.
When he brings that second, it's like,
Yeah.
bzzz, and you're like, and then he's like, oh my god, he's got double. But
I was listening to a Patton Oswalt bit, the comedian, the other day, and he made a really good point about it. He was talking about how when he went to see the prequels, and he was like making up a fake conversation with him and George Lucas and what it is, and he's like, "Oh, cool! So we're gonna get to see what happened before." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Remember Darth Vader?" Like, "Yeah, that's amazing." He's like, "So you're gonna get to see him as a little kid?" He's like, "Oh, is he like a really evil little kid?" It's like, "No,
he's
he
kind of
just
cool. It's all right.
yeah, he's
a little whiny.
He's an orphan, and you know his dad died, and he's kind of sad." And you're just like, I don't need to see that. And he didn't exactly make this point. I don't know if this was implicit in his joke or if I just picked this up, but I'm like, oh yeah, that is sort of a flaw. That it's like, remember this bad guy that you hate? It was like, here, come see why actually he's not such a bad guy.
Well, he's not.
Empathize with
He's
him.
not. He's not.
Love
He's not.
him.
He's the hero.
Let me like.
Ooh. Oh.
Are you gonna say what I'm gonna say? Like it solves the character arc
Yes.
at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Right.
It makes the story of Anakin, I think, is
It's a
one of
tragedy.
the most. It is a tragedy.
Right.
It is
That's
like
the whole point.
It is an ancient Greek-esque tragedy of. It's epic. Like most modern stories do not have the beauty and the just the grand tragedy of Anakin's arc. Like he was literally the chosen one,
Right.
who was
and he
deceived.
fulfilled that.
Yes.
He did fulfill that.
And but you get to, I don't know. I think Anakin, I think everybody can relate to Anakin. Like at some point you choose to be the person that you don't want to be and you suffer the consequences for it. And I think the redemption arc in Vader's story, I think it literally gives me hope for who I can be. Like tying it back into Bommy.
Heck yeah. Well done.
During the recording process of Bommy.
We're not done yet. Don't worry.
You are my son.
You're my drummer father. You taught me how to.
I am your drummer father.
You taught me how to. No. Yes. Like honestly, during the recording of Bommy, I made so many like I was a young teenage boy who was a 4 with so many feelings.
Wing 3.
Stuck in a barn. Sorry, a cabin.
Another
a ranch.
barn.
A ranch, not a barn. For 14 days with my family working every single day. I didn't handle every situation very, very well. I think we all had our own version of mental breakdowns, but I remember going away from that whole place thinking to myself, I was not the person that I wanted to be during that whole process. Like I know I could have handled so many situations better, and yeah, I could have just simply been like a better person for that.
Could have been Obi instead of
Exactly.
What a tough setup, because like tying it back, like we were saying, we did this whole Kickstarter that lasted for 30 days, but also there was 30 days in advance of preparation.
Right.
30 days of prep, 30 days of doing it, raising all the money, all the highs and lows of like, you think it's not going to happen. What does that mean? And then it works. And then there was a lot of stuff going on in y'all's personal life as well, with just family things and things completely unrelated to the band. And all of this at the same time, and we didn't probably really underscore this, but Link Union, the original band, is ending, and you're starting the new band, Dawson Hollow. And there's going to be a trade-off where Dad, who's been playing in the band and driving the bus, is no longer going to be a part of it. The parents are stepping out of the equation, and now the kids are doing their own thing with music. It's this huge moment in your family's life where you're transitioning from one thing to another, and now you're going to have to pick up the slack of your father. You know what I mean? Not slack, but he's stepping back. Now you have to take his role and pick that, whatever. And now you're there. You're finally recording the record, and you have 2 weeks to now do everything you've been thinking about for months and years.
Yeah.
Right.
And now you find yourself in that position, and you're like, oh, this isn't everything I dreamed it might be. And now you're saying, like I'm not who I wanted to be in this moment. I don't feel like how I hoped I would feel. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. And I just remember like leaving that whole, I mean, we were all so emotionally exhausted.
Well, there's also just the tax. It's taxing to record
It's work.
for that long, late nights, like physical
We were
exhaustion.
doing like 14-hour days every day, and
You get to the
towards
end
the
of
end,
that-
16-hour days.
Yeah, yeah,
And towards the end, 24-hour days.
We ended on a 21-hour day.
yeah.
Yeah. And that whole growing process of going through so much, I don't want to call it like darkness, but like difficult situations of like, I remember the grace that you guys showed me, even like the healing process that took place afterwards. We all grew so much, and now we come to the studio and it's super healthy. Like,
Yeah.
it's it feels insanely different than it did like during that time of bombing. And I think we all just learned how to exist in the studio together, and we're still learning and everything. But essentially, the grace that other people showed me through that time and the whole healing process, like I'm not saying I'm Darth Vader and I'm waiting to go kill a whole bunch of children because I'm sad. That's not the point.
Sure. But you're not saying that. Just to be clear.
But like using Anakin as like a reference point for like, we all are called to something, and Anakin's story is a tragedy of someone who is called to do something, and he is deceived by his own desires and then by an outside evil source to like go to a really dark place. But his son shows him grace and constant forgiveness, even when Luke Skywalker probably should kill his own father. He doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And he shows grace, and then Darth Vader finally fulfills his role. I think that is that whole insanely over-exaggerated storyline. I think we all can relate to it. I think we've all had people who have shown us grace at times that it doesn't make any sense for them to. Like they should bite back. They should take what's theirs or whatever, and they show you grace, and it changes you either right there and then or over time. And yeah, that's what Darth Vader's storyline means for me.
I think that's what's great about Star Wars and any good story is you can watch it just to enjoy, or you can literally be like, you can see yourself in it and find like profound truth or wisdom or warning or whatever.
So Revenge of the Sith is the best.
Revenge of the Sith is one of the worst.
Okay, I will say the first half is a little slow, except for the beginning.
Do we
It was
agree?
slow and then rushed.
Do we agree on Rogue One?
Rogue One's phenomenal.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's one of the best.
It's
There
one of
we
the
go.
best. It's up there for sure.
Which, by the way,
Ben, who do you see during Boy of My Youth? Which
I'm Mace
Star Wars
Windu.
character? Defend that.
I have his lightsaber. That's all I got.
I know we gotta swap out for the next pair here coming up, but we do have one other question we have to ask.
That's
we ask
true.
every guest on the show this question.
let's go. Jaws 1 was the best.
True. But if you had to choose,
And you do.
Okay. Okay.
now the important thing about this question
Yeah.
is I need an answer that's not from here.
Okay.
And for the podcast listeners, he's pointing at his head.
That's right.
First,
It's
It must
mind.
come
from your
from
butt.
here.
Oh.
Now, how that
for the
translates.
podcast listeners, the heart.
That's correct. Now, how that translates is I need an answer quick.
Okay.
I don't want you to think about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, this is dangerous.
Okay. If you had to choose,
And you do.
Okay.
and you do, what would you say?
You're just gonna jump into this one?
Sometimes you just gotta jump into it. Just gotta get it out there. Get the
Okay.
question out there.
Yeah.
People gotta answer it. you
We
know?
are trying to go a little quicker tonight than on a
little
normal
quicker
night.
than normal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all
okay.
good.
So,
If you had to choose,
and you do.
and you do,
This is fast.
what would you say
Quick, guys. Quick.
Okay.
is your favorite kind of turtle?
Oh, soft
Snapping.
shell turtle.
No shot. Soft shell? and
Whoa.
snapping.
I
I just threw that out because that was the first turtle that came
Okay,
to
here's
mind.
what I'll say. We get snapping fairly often. We get
Okay,
snapping.
okay.
We also get
Almost
box very
everyone.
often. We've never gotten soft shell, except for
Kyle.
God.
Really?
Yeah. Never
Okay,
ever.
See-
sorry, generic snapping. Sorry, it's so normal.
It's all right. It's all right. Maybe you're just a normal dude.
My great grandpa like literally dug lakes like with tractors and had like we.
Every time.
Do
Every
we talk
time.
about this?
No,
Every
keep
time
going.
somebody has a specific turtle experience to share
Okay.
without fail.
Yeah.
It's their grandpa.
There's this like old newspaper that my grandma had. Out of this lake that my great grandpa made, the snapping turtle was like literally. Can the camera see this? Like, it had the weight. I don't remember. It was like 60 pounds or something. Like
Damn.
insane.
That's massive.
Huge snapping turtle. Like you would lose a hand.
Like, it'd
so
take your
it's like
whole arm.
stuck in my head. So there you go. Snapping turtle.
Another snapping turtle story is the lake that our granddad made. One time, for some reason, us and our cousins, one day we were like, hey, we swim in there all the time. And they were like, hey, let's all go skinny dipping. And we were just like, yeah, sure. And so we were like young boys, like under 10 or something. And we all jump off the boat. We're swimming around in the nude. And and I can't remember how it exactly went, but one of the older cousins was like, hey, a snapping turtle might think it's bait. So we're in the
And that's why you can't have kids anymore.
it's scared. I distinctly, and this is like a lake that has like you can see the moss that's sticking up from the bottom, so your brain just plays tricks on you and what's hiding in there.
Oh, it's terrifying.
And I distinctly remember being genuinely frightened that situation
Could
would have happened.
To be fair, I'm scared of all inland water.
Snip, snip.
Like the
There you
beach
go.
I'm fine with, but inland water creeps me right out.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know what's in there. Loch Ness Monster? Maybe.
I've never told that story.
Snakes?
Wait,
Water
why did you
snakes?
pick soft shell though?
Yeah.
Oh,
Was there a reason?
Elaborate.
I just think they have nothing to prove. Like they're like,
Oh.
you guys need a protection from all of these. I'm just chilling. Honestly, it was the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah. Well, his reason was because they tasted good.
That sounds right.
Honestly, if I were to like, I know you said don't think about it, but probably
You
sea
can think about
turtles.
it after.
Yeah,
Okay.
you could think.
Like they're grand.
We do get sea
huge.
turtles a lot.
Yeah.
We get sea turtles.
They're like they have Californian accents.
Yeah. Though your sister
And-
said
Yeah.
Franklin the turtle. We'd never
Franklin
gotten
the
that
turtle?
from the cartoon. Yeah, we'd never gotten that
Oh,
before.
wow.
That
From
was new.
PBS.
Maybe this
Let's
episode
go.
is called Dawson Hollow has original turtle answers.
So is turtle the question on every podcast?
Every
Yeah.
podcast, every
That's
single show
amazing.
since the
Every time.
beginning.
Every
Yep.
single
We know a
time.
lot about what people think are their favorite turtles when under pressure.
And that's really what all you need to know about a person.
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah.
But we are going to play. You guys are going to play another song.
Yes.
What are you guys playing?
I believe
heard
we're
this is
doing
a real
song
serious
called Summer
one.
Snow.
Some
It's- yes.
snow.
Yes. It is about a vampire.
Nice.
And the lyrics will tell you everything else.
All right.
Also,
here you go.
the music video about it is ridiculous.
All right. They find that on your YouTube channel,
Yes.
which is just Dawson Hollow.
Dawson Hollow.
Dawson
At
Might as well
Dawson
throw that
Hollow.
out there now.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
All right. So this is going to be Summers now.
1, 2, 3, hey! Blood dripping off my chin. There's silver in my nightmares again and again. Cold, cold body hobbled down with the lust for this old town. I know, such a lonely sight. Color red inside our veins, driving us to the edge and the other side of insane. Dark cloud rains on me, clothes are wet, but I still see you there in the light mist. Love
What is going on? Welcome to another episode of Music or Hideout, the show where we hang out with artists, musicians, and entertainers in Waylon Jennings' old basement studio. My name is Jerry, and as always, I am gathered here today with co-host Ryan Poole, who I'll pass it to introduce the guests.
Tonight, on an ever-continuing episode of Music or Hideout, we have Dawson Hollow. Dawson Hollow is a band of 5 summers from and
Covered all that.
so we just, I almost told you before, like, oh, mute your guys' watches, but last night it went off at midnight, so I was like, oh, we got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Apparently they
Is
go
that
off
a
all the time.
thing? Wait, what's the deal with the watches?
Casio, man.
I don't know.
I mean, I grew up on Casio watches.
Yeah, same.
But like, do you guys have matching watches, or
It's just the
it
cheapest.
looks like
do.
the matching watches?
I mean,
the
these
cheapest
could
one at
survive the
Walmart.
apocalypse.
Is it just you two, or does the whole band have matching watches? Like, what's the deal here? What's
I'd
going
say
on with
we
the
wear them
watches?
the most.
Yeah. Some other members have them as well.
You just care about
Actually-
time more than the others, or?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So for everybody listening, you might have noticed that all the voices, except me and Jerry's, changed. So we just got back from summer snow, and we have 2 new voices. We have John and Luke. Do you guys want to introduce yourself?
I'm John.
Perfect intro.
I'm Luke.
Perfect.
Awesome. And what do you do in the band? We haven't asked
Well, now,
anybody
hold
else
on,
that.
hold on. Before
Yeah.
we even get in there, we also must point out, not only do we have 2 new people coming in,
So
but
true.
we also have 2 new mustaches. And we got some business going on with that.
True. We've got a ginger stash and a curly stash.
Yeah,
Yep.
well, you've got like the Ron Swanson,
Oh, that is.
you know?
Thank you. Thank you for that.
It's like that vibe. And you've got the fucking, like, I don't even know, curly nonsense that's dope.
Most of my style is usually really wild, or like that dude looked like he just walked out of a cave. But I always try to throw a tiny bit of sophistication into my style, where I don't look like I'm just complete trash.
Like a sophisticated caveman.
That's basically
Isn't that what
Sophisticated
we
man.
all are?
sophisticated man.
Sophisticated, man.
so good.
Bingo.
Yeah. All right, you can ask your music
Right.
question. I
Okay,
just had to address the mustaches.
Thank you.
So, what do you guys do in the band?
I play bass and I sing, and I sometimes make people laugh.
it's true.
Only sometimes, or
It's it's a give and take
Struggle?
kind of situation.
okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
And
And
Luke, what do you do in the band?
I
What do you play?
you've never seen me before. You might have seen me in a music video as a special character.
Throwing it down.
With my sick dance moves and a scythe as the Grim Reaper. But I do anything behind the scenes, so any kind of graphic design, artistic, aesthetic, clothing, haircuts, pretty much anything. I drive the van, run the sound.
Social media.
Yeah.
He has a gift and taste in just about everything. He looks at just about anything, and he can make it better.
I try.
Now, do you have
Anything,
like
huh?
a title? Do you have a title in the band?
For me,
Yeah.
they call me the swag coach, but
Well,
that really just hurts.
to be
kind
fair, without Luke, we would look like we walked out of a cave.
Mm.
But
Valid.
we look like homeschooled cavemen. So
it's the worst kind
all
of
of us,
caveman.
except for Luke, were homeschooled. So therefore, we, in many ways, do not look cool at all.
Sure,
And
sure, sure,
With
sure.
the help of this angel,
So you are not homeschooled.
I was not.
So you know, like, how the world actually works. Like,
exactly.
Okay, example. Not even 2 hours ago, I was talking about baseball, and I was telling him a story. And the guy who's supposed to catch the ball, I was like, "Yeah, what's his name? Luke, you went to high school.
What's his name? What's his job? What he catches the ball? What do you think?
No,
is-
you were talking about the umpire.
The umpire. I was talking about the umpire,
okay.
and
Not
I
the
was like,
catcher.
"Okay, it's not empire. I don't know. I don't remember what it was."
Could be.
He was like,
So-
Luke, you went to school. What's his name?
Yeah.
Like that's
They cover that in baseball 101.
Yeah, exactly.
no.
6th
Is
grade.
that what it's like growing up in homeschool? Like you grow up and you're like, I never went to school. They went to school.
Well, I'd say every sibling has a different answer. Like Rachel and Kyle had a very different education than us 3 boys because they grew up on a farm.
Your parents just kind of give up by the time you were out there, or
I mean, my mom would be like, "Here's a book," and be like, "All right." And then the next year she'd be like, "Here's the new books."
if you want to be smart, go get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you got to work if you want it. So it wasn't like that the whole time, but I'd say early teens around that time was when mom was like, all right,
I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of
ask me
you.
if you need help. Yeah.
Like,
And
that's
I
a
mean,
lot of work.
At that point, it's kind of like, hey, Rachel, can you help me with this? I don't know what I'm doing.
How much younger are you than the rest?
I am, well, depends on which one, but
guess it's fair.
12 years
Are
from
you
Rachel.
21?
22.
22.
Oh, wow.
And Rachel's 34. Just to sell her age out.
Oh, wow. You're not allowed to say that on the
Yeah.
internet, Ryan.
We got to put a bleep over that.
Yeah, you're going to have to cut that out.
Earlier, we said she and I were the same age.
I was like, I thought it was this one. Oh, it is.
It is. Yeah. Well, you missed the 34. So me and Rachel are 34, and you're 22. So
Yes.
that means 12.
12 whole years.
Math.
And I'm guessing they've already told you about the 6-year gap. It was like Rachel, Kyle, and then mom and dad were like,
Yeah,
"This
we
is
talked
good."
about how there was like a couple real early, and there's like the middle, and there's the end.
And there's like bang, bang, bang. And yeah, we were called the 3 little boys for a very long time.
They're
And
still called that.
Every once in a while, it still happens. But, yep.
So we just played Summer Snow, which was the very first song from LP2.
Yeah.
From the second album we all did together. But where we left off with Ben and Aaron was we had just talked about Boy of My Youth, the first album we did.
Okay.
Okay. So fill me in on what happened between you leaving Montana and deciding, let's make another record.
Well, we stopped for Chipotle
We did.
and had a conversation. And then we drove. No.
A very hard conversation, I believe.
We
Yeah.
were just drained after
We were, yeah.
the recording of the first album.
Like imagine a cup of water and there's a line and the water goes down and then your finger just keeps going down past the cup. That's what we kind of felt like.
So you're pretty burned.
But kind of. I mean, it was definitely a time that was really hard because we had a lot of lessons we had to learn on how to do all of this. And so it was hard, but I for sure wouldn't take it back. It was a great time.
Yeah, it was great.
In a lot of ways, it was like a band that was just starting. You guys had a lot of music experience, but it was like very spread out between, Kyle and Rachel had been touring for 15 years, and then
I was 17 and I didn't pick up the bass till I was 15.
right,
Like I was mainly just singing, or I was in the back playing with Legos or drawing.
and the
But-
band was brand new, and like most bands would have recorded like a starter album and then slowly built over time, but just like where different people were in their lives, and then where I was in my career, and what I was looking to do and what you were looking to do, and where our dreams lined up, like it just what you ended up getting thrust into and how much money we raised in the Kickstarter, which we talked about earlier, like we ended up trying to make a record that like a first time band didn't have any business trying to do.
Yeah.
Under crazy circumstances.
Yeah.
And so you had to like rise to the challenge, and from my perspective you all did, but rising to the challenge had like a huge like emotional and physical cost. And so it's
Yeah.
funny, you all left and were like, we were devastated. And I was like, I just had the best 2 weeks of my life. It's never been better than this.
Yeah. No, I think it was I think it was exactly what needed to happen because like you said, they've been in music for 15 plus years at that point. So they have
diapers, yeah.
so much experience with the musical side of things, but their dreams and their aspirations are just like, past the stars. What did we call it? Shoot for the stars
Yeah.
or the moon. Anyways.
Shoot the moon, mainly among stars.
Yeah. And so I love that we got thrown into that, the Kickstarter and the recording of the album in the way that it happened, because we learned. I feel like we got 5 years of experience in like
A summer.
3 months, and so
Yeah.
I think it was really beneficial for us.
Yeah. I will say the worst mistake I made out of the entire process of that album was sleeping in the recording room. It was a massive, massive room, and there was like this bridge just in the middle of this room up top, and I was like, that's where I want to sleep. And it seemed like a great
The
idea.
loft.
The
but
loft.
when it's the loft. But when it's like literally 2:30 in the morning and we're recording Take Me There, which you just heard, and Ben and Ryan are recording drums, and I'm just in bed like,
this was a bad decision. But yeah, it was a good time, especially climbing the mountain. I don't know if anybody mentioned that.
No, not at
yeah.
all. Tell us about climbing the mountain.
Oh man, I loved. Yeah. So
He loved it.
I did. I did. No
Oh
one
yeah,
else
we
did.
were all scared for you.
Yeah, I used to take like 15 minutes to tell the story, but I'll try to keep it.
Yeah, give us
at
the
an
1 minute
appropriate
version.
amount. Okay, so I woke up. It's a great way to start a story.
We're in the Rockies, by the way.
We're in the Rockies, Montana, mountains everywhere, and there's this like huge mountain, and I was born
Wow.
with a desire. No. So I woke up one morning and went on a hike. It was probably about a 4-mile hike. There was like this really big hill, and then there was this mountain. So I rode with my legs up this hill, came back, recorded some bass, and then I looked at the mountain and I was like, I really want to start towards this mountain and then just turn back when I want to. And since I'm not thinking about this too much, I don't need to bring a backpack. I don't need food. I don't even need water. That bear spray can, I don't need that. I'll be fine. So I started to head towards the mountain, and I'm just going, just having a blast. And I finally get to the mountain, start going up to the mountain, and then like the level, it starts to turn to like 45 degrees, and then all of a sudden there's snow, and then all of a sudden I'm grabbing trees to heave myself up because it's such an angle. And anyway, hike so long that it's starting to it's sunset, and I look at my watch and I'm like, ooh, it's getting late. I pull out my phone, it's 1%, and my siblings have tried to call me multiple times, so I slide down the mountain as fast as I can. I'm getting so hungry.
Meanwhile, during the same time, we're all back at the recording studio. Like, has anyone seen John? No one's seen him in hours.
So I'm
Like
so
he went off
thirsty
on a
and
hike.
hungry. Yeah. Get down the mountain. While I'm going down, I see bear tracks in the snow, and I'm like, And then I
Meanwhile,
remember
Kyle's driving an ATV through Montana looking for his brother
my
who's
God.
dying in the woods. Go on.
yeah. So it's getting past sunset. It's getting darker. I'm like trying to sprint because it's 2 miles from the mountain to the cabin, and I get to the field and I just start running, but my stomach hurts because it's so empty because I have nothing.
No food
And
or
I
water.
use snow as food, which is a terrible idea because it cooled down my entire
So you're
body.
trying to drink snow, getting all frozen inside.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hypothermia.
So I had this coat and this cardigan that held past my coat, and it had frozen solid, and so it was just like click, 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 click on my sides. It was so cold. Anyway, I get about a quarter. I'm about a quarter of a mile away from the cabin, and I'm getting so close, and I'm like, oh, I just had to start walking. I was just hurting so much. And then I heard, oh, and then I just bolted. I'm like,
All that energy came right back, I bet, in that moment.
It's back. And then I get down, and like within 5 minutes, I think it was pitch black outside when I got to the cabin, and it was like getting foggy. It was crazy. So when I got to the cabin, like out of the fog emerged my brother Kyle with a bottle of water. And I was just like, ah. And my brother Kyle was like so angry and jealous at the same time. He was like, that was the stupidest thing. I wish I was with you. Don't ever do that again. Man, don't do that. And there were steaks. And I ate a steak and had a bath that I hadn't had in many years. I showered, but I never bathed. Bathed. I never bathed before. No. And that's my mountain story.
Wow.
Yep.
That's actually
And
pretty
you were
wild.
17.
And I was 17.
Man, how embarrassing if you would have died there.
I know.
what I mean?
I mean, just an empty seat right here. I'm sorry, Luke. I would have left you. But
My Uncle John, he lived to about 17. He went up hiking up a mountain, didn't bring no water. He drank the water, got hypothermia, got eaten by a coyote.
singular.
Coyote. So,
But,
so
yeah.
you left Montana depleted. And what's funny is, as I mentioned, I'm like, oh yeah, it was like the greatest time of my life. So like, I think if you like look back on the experience,
Yeah.
like so many cool things like that happened. You built a snowman. We all went swimming in the frozen lake while it was snowing outside.
Played in the snow and got a sunburn. Yeah.
And if you look at back on Boy in My Youth, I imagine you like the record we made.
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
yeah.
But the process,
It'd be weird if they said no, right?
It's the worst.
the process was devastating.
Yeah.
So talk to me about, so you leave, so like, I feel like there were so many fun moments and there was hard moments, but it's just like, at a certain point, your body, mind, soul, whatever, and all the pressure, and I think a lot of it's the pressure of where your family was in its transition and raising them on the whole thing, and then you do it, and then it's just done, and you're just like ready to collapse. So you're leaving in this like crazy chaotic state. At what point did you go, wait a minute, maybe we did something good there? I kind of like what happened. Like,
Or
how
are
long
you
did
still
that
waiting
take?
for that
Yeah.
I say, while we were eating Chipotle, I remember feeling so unsatisfied because we had poured so much into this album, and we were like, we're done, and we don't have an album.
Right, you don't have it.
It wasn't
there.
in our hands. We couldn't
Yeah.
listen to it after all of that, and that I just remember that being so like wanting it so bad, but we didn't have it. The first thing that comes to mind, Ryan, is the moment I had the vinyl in my hand. Like when it was in vinyl form. Like we had a
6
band that was
months
like
later.
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe even 10 months
It was
later.
probably
I think it
longer,
was.
yeah. But I mean,
Yeah.
the other band ran for 17 years, I think. We never made a vinyl. It was all we made hundreds of CDs.
Thousands.
But it never had a vinyl. So to actually hold a vinyl with music that you made was like a special moment for sure.
I had a different experience because I wasn't playing instruments and I wasn't singing. Well, I was, gang vocals maybe, but that's it, or clapping.
Yeah. During Be Here, we brought everybody out. You and Leah were the clappers.
Yeah. But I had multiple moments in the studio where I had that like the shock and awe moment of like, I cannot believe I get to be a part of this dream that this band has. Well, it's my family, and it also is partially my dream.
Oh, yeah, we didn't mention that. You're their cousin.
Yeah, I'm a cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we keep
we
it.
consider
keep it
him like
family.
a secret band member. Like
Yeah.
we even say that from stage, which is not a secret, but
Yeah. So
Super secret.
yeah.
in the studio, I remember having those moments of like, holy cow, this is epic. And I had an incredible time while we were out there. And so I had those moments in the studio where I knew it was, I was satisfied with what was happening. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think everybody did. Like,
Yeah.
like we talked about earlier, like Fire and Flood was like that. Like, was a moment where you knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think one thing that artists, especially if you're early on, like a difference between a producer and artist is like, I live in the music is not done yet stage and hear ahead to like where it's going to be later. So like I've noticed this with people all the time that I listen to something and even though it's not good yet, I know that it's going to be like, and I know why it doesn't sound good yet and like how it needs to be mixed or whatever it is that's like missing. And so I think as a producer, you have more of a view of like, in the early stages, you hear the potential of something and you know like what will happen 30 steps down the line. And so I hear things in the raw form. And you're probably like that with your art, which we should probably talk about. It's like with art, if you probably like started drawing a sketch, you probably like, oh, I know this is going to be a good one long before all the shading and everything else is done to like, no, and somebody else
Yeah.
you might show like, what do you think about this? And they can't see it yet because it's not done.
Yeah.
But as an artist going through it, when you haven't been through it, you have no guarantees that it will ever actually be good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a blurry picture, but you can see the potential in it. Like, or blurry as in like pencil. But
So you also do other art outside of music, it sounds like.
yeah, when I was young, I used to just mess around with just about everything: clay, painting. I mean, mainly drawing, but I mainly just stuck with drawing. I even did some stop motion at times, which gave me the respect for. I have to respect every stop motion ever created because it's so much work. But drawing, I just stuck with drawing because I just started drawing robots and then realized I could portray human emotion much easier drawing robots than people.
Really?
And so, and as a young age, I'd say maybe a little bit before teens, it was almost like therapeutic for me. Like, young, you just have all these emotions. You're like, I don't know what to do with these. And so I would just throw them on a piece of paper. And so I would just keep doing that. And it just became, kind of a joy of mine to just.
Do you post anything that you draw anywhere that people can see?
Yeah, I have a Instagram account
an Instagram account called Jangoria _ JANGORIA.
So there,
Yeah.
you can go check out and see some of the stuff you've done.
Ba-boom.
It's pretty awesome.
But yeah,
If you like robots and you like art, you just found your new obsession.
you're
True.
welcome.
You can buy his product at our shows, at our live
Oh,
shows.
really? That's
Yes.
awesome.
Got
Thank you,
Sticker
Brother
form.
Luke.
Stickers, originals, yeah.
So you leave Montana, you're a little bit devastated, but finally you get the records. And at some point, and I think for a lot of people in the band, I think things shifted when you got the first mixes back from Ryan Hewitt. I think was the first time that a lot of people were like, oh, this sounds
Yeah,
great.
when
Yeah.
Luke was talking, I remembered. Oh yeah, which by the way, there was never a time when I was like, oh, why are we even doing this? Like that never entered my mind. But the moment it was nighttime and we were around the campfire with my entire family, and we like pulled out the biggest speaker we had, and we were playing our songs like for the first time all together. That was like a moment we were all like, yay, like we did something.
Yeah.
And just all enjoyed it together.
So you released the album. What comes after releasing an album? I assume you went out on the road and you started playing it. Was that easy or hard at first?
It was a lot of shows. Some were utterly amazing, others I'd rather forget. But I mean, I grew up on the road, so I just loved being on the road. Like that's one of my favorite things in life in general, is just being on the road with my family, playing music. So I loved all that, but yeah.
No, you guys are on Red Letter Management. So I feel like that's probably like a next big step after the record.
Yeah.
Is getting signed with a management company. And what does that look like for people who aren't doing that? What is it like to have a manager? What has that done for your career? And how do we get to today?
Yeah. Hiring a manager was really, really important because it was 5 kids, give or take, with a cousin.
With a swag coach.
With the swag coach. Trying to figure out how to actually make a living doing music as an indie band. Because making music and making a living with bluegrass for them was possible, but that's not what they wanted to do. So this was a completely new avenue that we had no idea how to get down. So we needed someone to help us, just coach us along. And so we hired, his name's Brad Fogarty. He's our boss man.
She actually saw the second show we ever did.
That's true.
Yeah.
And he works for Red Letter Management, and really he's kind of plays a mentorship role for everybody, and has really helped us look. He always wants us to look 10 years ahead of where we're at now. He wants us to try to figure out where we want to be, what we want to be doing. And so he tries to get us to take steps towards the 10-year ahead plan rather than just trying to make ends meet at this very moment, booking any show that you possibly could. So it's he's been really good for us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Look, everybody looks at me like, got another question, boy.
Come on, right guy.
You haven't even thrown out one distraction.
I mean, we've been so on the music topic lately. I know.
Disgusted with you.
I mean, I can take us anywhere you want to go. I mean, we were
Yeah, you
talking with
can.
them about how you're huge.
It's got to be natural. It's got to be natural.
We were talking about that.
I'll ask another question, then you feel free to pull it off. So, okay. So you start touring, you start playing again. Now you have a whole nother record out since Boy My You. So, take me to that record.
I haven't thought about this era of life in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember, so Summer Snow started to develop, and it was
The opposite of what it is today.
the opposite of yeah.
What? How's that?
Well, it was like a bouncy folk song.
It sounded
with the
very
banjo.
very Lumineers-esque.
Yeah.
And we're like, we just came out of this Boy of My Youth record where we wanted to be this, folk rock thing, and Ryan helped us push out of that and explore other options. And we're like, what? Electric guitars? What? Drum kit? What?
Aaron, do you want to learn how to play drums?
Yeah.
I remember Ben played banjo, and
Yeah.
but y'all had an electric guitar, and I think y'all played it sometimes.
Yeah.
But then one time Ben was playing banjo, probably take me there, and I'm like, here, put this in your hands. Took
Yeah.
his banjo. I was like, make that work. And he used his banjo skills to do electric guitar.
That's crazy that you say that. You say that he played banjo, and every once in a while he would play electric guitar. Now it's like,
The opposite.
oh, he might play banjo this show. We're doing that one song. Okay, yeah, pull out the banjo. Like, it's completely shifted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so we came from Boy of My Youth, and then we're like, okay, so we're gonna start pursuing this indie thing. Like, what is that? And then they write Summer Snow, and at that point, it's like a Lumineers song, like just folk, yeah, like all the way folk. And we loved it. It was a beautiful song.
I'd created we threw it away, so I don't mind saying it. It was the best bass line I had ever written up
You
into
threw it
that
away?
point. And Ryan introduced this process that has helped us so much in creating songs, and it's called the Sacred Cows. And so basically, when you're doing pre-production on a song, you are like, oh, I love this part about the song. I love this. All right, well, that's a sacred cow. So let's kill that. Now you have to come up with something completely new. Let's see what happens. And that like just forces you to be creative and like go in complete opposite directions and like just trying out everything and just to see what sticks. And the best thing I ever made up to that point did not stick. And
The sacred cow died.
yeah,
A tragic
it died.
death.
What's great is how flippant it all was, like on my end. Like, it's like the way this. I don't know if you know this. Like, me and Ben had a conversation right before the song, and I knew like how much weight you had after Boy of My Youth, and I knew how much I pushed you, and I was like, I don't want to like keep pushing them so hard. I don't want them to like feel bad and whatever. And so, right beforehand, I had a whole conversation with Ben. We had a long talk about the vision of like we're starting the new record, what's going to be, and I was like, I don't want everybody to feel bad. Like, do you really want me to like push and see what these songs can become? Or like maybe we should just accept what it is from the beginning and just roll with that. We don't need to try to push you to be an indie. And ultimately he was like, no, I think we should try to push and see what we can do. And so I was like, okay, we're gonna try to push. And so on the way there, because I drove like 8 hours to wherever, Sweet Springs to come work with you on it. I was thinking about. I just started like daydreaming about the songs and like what we could do. And I had this idea, and I kind of do this with you with pre-production every time. I just sort of like dream up these ideas and I like come up with these little games. And it's mostly because it's the kind of people you are. I think like games work. And so I was like, I came up with this random idea, like kill the sacred cows. And I was like, I'm going to have them tell me. I'm not going to tell them why, but I'm going to be like, all right, what are your sacred cows? What are the most important things about this song to you? What is the part that you can't live without? And like, so you wrote those things down, and for you, it was like my bass part. My bass part is my favorite thing. It can't go away. And then
It's
I'm like,
dead now.
and I'm like, this game is called Kill the Sacred Cows.
And it worked. It worked.
It did.
It was
And
so awesome.
I feel like with Summer Snow, we went more than usual in completely like changing
Well, I mean, the
genres.
subject matter of the song alone is like kind of lends to being able to be a little bit more out there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. There's so many people that are like, wait, it's about a vampire? We're like, yeah, it is.
Like, for real?
Like, yeah. But I remember the first time Ben showed me, right now I don't remember what it was, but when the first time I listened to it, it was just him and the guitar in his room, which reminds me of a funny story after this one. But he played it, and I think I closed my eyes, and I had this like whole storyline in my head of this love story. And then he said, yeah, it's about a vampire, and it completely destroyed what I had in my head. But yeah, it's just funny how, like you said, it's so vague that you can kind of fill it in. But funny story is one time I recorded him doing it with his guitar in his room, and when we played it through my phone, through Luke's car, it sounded like it was recorded in the 1920s. And Benjamin like had this weird vibrato like in his voice, and just the way he sang, it sounded like he was from the 20s. And we were just like, "This is amazing."
It was like a 20-second voice memo on a
Yeah.
phone.
Didn't
that
even finish
was
the verses.
like I can't even describe how beautiful that 20 seconds was. Like it was like
Oh,
a little gold nugget.
and Luke was like,
that
"Dude,
you-
text that to me. It's so good." Ben was like, "Text that to me," and I was like, "Okay."
And so we listened to that thing.
So many
I remember
times.
on a drive, we probably listened to it at least 20 times because it's so short. But long story short, all
of our phones
died, and that little gold nugget is missing forever.
We were like,
Wow.
at one point, we were like, "Oh, we can like release like a small track."
Yeah, like
Of-
a hidden track or
yeah.
something.
So wait, when you say your phone's died,
So like,
did you just like run out of battery, you charged it, and you were fine?
No, like-
my phone locked up, and I lost like 3 years of my life via photos and audio recordings
Oh,
and
that
everything.
sucks.
Benjamin's phone, I think, just straight up broke, and
And
then
my screen broke, and
Yeah.
the phone still exists somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
It was in
like
this
in my
office.
possessions.
and you,
Hmm.
yeah,
And
I
so
searched
if-
where we thought it was just like a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't find it.
And so if we find it and I buy a new screen, I can probably get back in there and find the little...
Which could be totally worth, right?
Yeah.
To get
Yeah.
that, because it's something that's
Yeah,
lost forever
dude.
currently, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Finding it again, like that'd be dope.
Yeah, and so we need to try to actually do that.
If any of the listeners are good at repairing phones,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wesley's like,
Oh yeah, Wesley works at the Apple store.
Yes, Wesley. Yeah.
Can you just like get onto the cloud and find it for me?
Yeah, get onto the cloud. Do you guys have? Is the cloud at the Apple store? Is that where it is?
Yeah, come on, Wesley, just go in the back room, go to the cloud,
Yeah.
open the cloud door, and just find it.
Have Steve Jobs hand you the song.
Steve Jobs lives in the cloud.
He does. Oh, he definitely does.
So for LP2, you guys switch things up. So we've talked a lot about me producing your music, but in LP2, you actually introduced other producers as well. And so you did one song with Benjamin Backus,
Yep.
and then you did a few songs, I don't know how many, 3, 4 or something like that, with John Johnson?
Yes,
Yeah.
John
Yeah.
Johnson.
His name confuses me.
That's not a real
John
name. That's not a real
Johnson.
guy.
He's
You're
not a
making
real-
that up.
No, he's
John,
not
John,
real.
John.
Yeah, I thought he was a lie
Great
too, but
guy.
then I met him.
You call him John John?
That's right.
I feel like you should call him John John.
John John?
But I did have an old friend named John John.
What's his name, John Johnson?
No.
Or is he a liar? Those are the options.
John Baker.
Which shout out to
But-
John Johnston. After the record was done, he happened to be in Nashville and we met up. And he came to the studio
Yeah.
for like 5 hours and we talked.
And you sent a video and sent it to us, and my brain like melted. I was like,
Worlds collide. What?
yeah,
but-
he was a super cool guy. So
yeah. It was a lot. The LP2 was a lot more spread out. Instead of like, all right, we're gonna focus all of our energy, and were we in Montana like 5 or 6 days?
14 days. What? 5 or
Close though,
6?
close though.
14
It all
days.
melted into one for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, 14 days. And instead of that, we spread it apart. We focused like either song by song, or we would do like 2 songs at a time. And it was a lot longer process, but it was a lot, I'd say a healthier process for us.
How long did it take from the beginning to the end of LP2?
So we released
Oh, man.
Summer Snow, summer of 19. So,
No, 2019, to be clear.
Yes,
Yeah.
clear.
yeah.
Yes, 29.
You're not actually vampire.
1919.
We stole it from someone who wrote it in 1920. No, I'm kidding. So that would back up like what, a year and a half probably at least of working on it, and then like it's insane how long it takes to record a song and get it online. Like we were like talking to sorry, my brain just blipped. We were like, oh, we need to make a Christmas song, so we need to record it in the summertime because it takes that long for it to get ready. But with this, wow, my brain just completely slipped. Where were we?
Talking about album
2019, you started
2019.
Summer Snow. When did
Yeah.
the final record come out?
It's a great question.
Yeah, it is. Good.
The full record released.
Was it?
Well, we were
This
still
is-
working on it in 2020. I remember
Yeah.
that.
Was it?
I'm gonna
It had to
look
be
it
like
up.
2021.
I
You're
think-
going to look it
yeah,
up.
I think it was 21.
Took a while.
Probably
but,
21.
I want to say January.
And it's called Even When It Doesn't,
Doesn't
Rhyme.
No,
Rhyme.
summer. Summer. I think we released in.
I
Well-
had to learn how to spell rhyme like 30 times.
RIME, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I
Yeah.
still struggle.
Is it
To this day.
RHYME?
Yeah.
Now, do you have a favorite song?
Oh man.
I do. I have two.
All right, you start.
Of just that album or of everything?
That album specifically. Well, yeah.
Of that album, what are your favorites?
My favorite song from album 2 is Paper Submarine. I think
John,
it's the
can you hit
most.
button?
I think it's the most listenable for all people, and I don't know. It's just such a comforting song to me, so that's why I like it.
Oh, 2021.
There you go.
Thanks, Wesley.
Well, thanks, Wesley.
Yeah, I was right
Why,
there.
yeah, why did we have you look it up?
Yeah.
We have Wesley.
Thanks, Wesley.
But now I know we do got to wrap up here fairly shortly, but we do have one question we got to ask you, and then I want to let everybody know where they can find you and all
Okay.
those things. But there is one question that we do ask every guest.
Okay.
You're going to jump straight into it?
No, I'm definitely not.
Trying to prepare for anything.
Getting a little
You haven't
nervous.
even asked John about Star Wars.
I know,
Which
I
is
know,
so
I know,
surprising.
I know. But it's hard when we got three
We got-
groups of people.
We got our fill
got
in last
so
time.
many people.
We talked for a long time last time. Yeah.
And but that being said, this is also not the only time you guys are going to be on the show. We're going to have you back,
Bingo.
and it's going to be an all Star Wars episode. Ryan's not allowed to ask any music questions.
We are the
He can
Star Wars
listen.
podcast.
We are the Star Wars podcast. But
But before you ask a question, I just want to say they released LP2 in 2021, and then they went and toured on that album, and then now we're recording the third album. Go ahead. I
yeah,
finished
yeah,
the story.
we'll get to the plugs. We'll get to the plugs and stuff too.
My favorite song
But-
is Window Pane.
Ooh, that's a good one.
But here's the thing: if you had to choose,
And you do.
and you do,
Okay.
Okay.
now the important thing about this question, though, the important thing is that the answer doesn't come from here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, he's pointing at his head. I have to say that for the people who
For
are
the audio
listening with
listeners.
audio.
Got
Yeah,
it.
right.
Got it.
Pointed at
You
head.
know, I really want your answer to come from here.
From the heart.
The heart.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh,
Now-
I didn't know the sound effect kept going.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
keep
it keeps
turning
going
it off
for-
every
it
time.
goes for a while.
Does
It's
it
just
really?
going up.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was
speaking
cool.
of
I liked
heart.
that.
Yeah.
I think you should just leave it going.
Just the whole time? It's just too loud now.
You might as well. No, I mean, I'll blend it later.
Sure,
I'll,
sure,
I'll
sure,
make
sure,
the
sure,
right-
sure.
Yeah.
Now, if you had to choose,
And you do.
and you do. That's new.
That really broke the tension. That was nice for people.
Now how that actually translates, right?
Not with your toe. he just cued that with his big toe.
is that I need your answer to be quick.
Okay.
Okay, I don't want you to think
opposite of this
about
question.
It. Yeah. What are you
Okay.
talking about? This is very fast. I want you to think.
one of the fastest
I
we've
don't
ever done
want
this.
you to think.
No, do
I
not
want
think.
an answer
Oh.
instantly.
Okay.
Whatever your soul is telling you.
Yeah, remember
I want
in
that
school,
coming from your mouth.
Remember in school?
Okay.
Remember in school how like a teacher and for you your mom would
Yeah.
be like, hey, you have time to think about this.
Yeah, you have no time to think about this.
Yeah, it's not like school.
We're gonna ask.
This
you're
is
gonna
life.
answer.
Okay.
Yeah,
If you and simultaneously, because there's two of you.
correct.
'Kay.
Yeah, if you guys can double each other
That'd be
speed wise,
dope.
it'd be perfect. Thank
'Kay.
you.
If you had to choose,
And you do.
And you do. Okay. What would you say is your favorite kind of turtle?
Snapping turtle.
Box?
I love that. I didn't even know we had that. That's so
Great
good.
sound.
I regret my answer.
But we know
immediately.
we know it's the truth.
I
though.
immediately
That's the
regret
thing.
this answer.
But can I just tell you something real quick?
Absolutely.
I have
You have a turtle story?
I hate turtles
Ooh.
so much.
New. This is new. Tell me about
yeah.
that.
They're the only redeeming factor for a turtle is the sea turtle. Okay, they're not slimy.
And Kung Fu Panda.
Okay, the sea turtles, they're adorable.
True.
Sup, dude? Like that's them. That's,
We swam with them. Why?
yeah. Oh, I'm jealous.
Yeah. a little bit.
But
I followed a sea turtle, and it led me through all these coral reefs, past fish, past
Okay.
Did
coral.
you give it a hug?
No, you can't touch them.
No.
That's
This was-
massively illegal. You'll get arrested instantly.
This was in
Good
Hawaii.
to know.
Led
Yeah.
the turtle. I followed it. I'm not kidding. Underwater, and it led me to a shark. The sea turtle tried to kill me.
Now, to be fair, we were snorkeling in a place called Shark's Cove.
To be fair, yes,
okay,
it was
why
Shark's
were you in
Cove.
Shark's Cove?
Why wouldn't you? It was dope.
It was dope.
It was very
Sorry,
cool.
you were saying.
Yeah, I hate turtles with a passion. They are slimy. Their neck wrinkles give me the weirdest feel. Like I kind of get chills and can't really think about it too long, or my stomach starts to hurt.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
See, what we've learned is that I've said this the third time I've said this on this podcast. What we've learned is that pretty much everybody has some kind of turtle experience, some kind of turtle story, some kind of turtle deep thought that, and it's weird because we've asked this question, 50 times, 60 times at this point?
Yeah, closer to 60.
60 times, and everybody has an answer.
Okay.
Well, okay.
And usually followed up with like now let me tell you.
Interesting.
Almost every time. Why is everyone so passionate about turtles?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I love that you're passionate against turtles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
That's
new.
my
That
favorite
is
part
new.
about this.
Gross.
Because we've
Very
heard
different.
we've heard both snapping and box before.
Okay.
Those
So
are the most common two answers.
Yeah.
So you went. Did you do box?
He said
Yeah,
box.
I said
Yeah.
box.
But then
You
regretted
said
it.
box, but you regretted it, and you wish you had gone C
Yeah.
because at least
They're cool.
they're better.
They're in the C.
But like, actually, your answer would be no.
0.
Yeah. What's your
Absolutely
favorite
no.
granite turtle? Absolutely not.
Nothing. None of them.
Okay. Now, do you have now we know you have at least a couple. We've heard about a couple snapping turtle experiences of your family.
Yeah, your family has a lot of snapping turtle experiences.
We're from Missouri.
Talk to us
so-
about why you picked
Missouri?
snapping.
All right. Well, right now I'm writing a story, and it
Oh, wow.
involves a boy and a dog lost in the woods, and
It doesn't sound very turtle involved
yeah.
so far.
Well, it's supposed to be like this forest that the boy like has adventures in, but one day it just like changes, and then you don't know what's gonna come out of it. Like it's a very like mythical, like you don't know what's gonna happen. And at one point they come across a sleeping snapping turtle who has like a little hat, like an old, not a top hat, but like
Sure.
a bowler hat, and he has like a staff, and he's just like got his head perched on it, and he's like sitting on a stump, and he's just out, and they just walk by it, and they accidentally wake it up, and it just like
Snaps.
quote unquote like it
Eats them?
snaps at him, which is like super silly to say, but that's why I said it, because I've been like really focused on snapping turtles.
That's fair.
Wow.
That's fair. That's fair. They're dangerous.
This has been the turtle question.
That's my favorite new sound effect that we have.
Now, was it snap? You said, I heard you say earlier, without giving away the question,
that people gave the same
there's
answer.
2 answers. What
yeah,
were
yeah,
they?
yeah. It was soft shell.
Those are the worst of the turtles. They look like pancakes, and it makes me not want to eat a pancake.
And it's like, what's the point of a turtle without the hard shell?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of
Exactly.
the point.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we got I forget who gave what answer at this point
Oh, I remember. Kyle picked soft shell.
because they were delicious. Was his
Oh,
reasoning,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That sounds
Aaron
like a
picked
Kyle
soft
answer.
shell, but I forget why he picked soft shell.
I don't remember.
My theory
He
right
said it was
now,
the first thing he thought of. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is that's like how many turtle species can you just think of instantly?
Well, here's the answer. We've
Yeah.
gotten snapping, we've gotten box, soft shell, C. We've also got ninja, and
okay.
your sister Franklin, which is new,
Okay.
like the cartoon.
was
The
new.
old
That's adorable.
yeah. That was the first time we've gotten that one. I was pretty impressed by that.
Oh, so you don't hate Franklin though?
No, he's not a slimy real life turtle.
So what you're saying is you love turtles.
I hate turtles. They're so
The title of this
bad.
episode is Luke Loves Turtles. That's the title of the episode.
Question mark.
I like turtles. Not true.
Now I know we gotta get
That
wrapping
could
up
be
here
a
too.
soundbite
We're
that we
over time,
play
but-
from.
I love turtles. But where can the people find all the Dawson Hollow stuff? The music, the videos, the merch. Where are you guys playing? Where are you gonna be?
Yeah, DawsonHollow.com. You can find everything.
Hard to remember.
Yeah, hard to remember. It's all online. We have a link tree in our Instagram bio. Take you to the YouTubes, the Twitters.
Dawson Hollow on YouTube, I
Yes.
assume? Dawson
Oh,
Hollow on Twitter?
Yes, on Twitter.
Dawson Hollow on Instagram?
On the
On
Facebook.
Instagram.
Dawson Hollow on TikTok?
On the TikTok.
Dawson Hollow on Clubhouse? Ain't nobody using Clubhouse anymore. That was big for like 2 weeks and it was dead.
And all the streaming services.
Okay.
You know?
It's MySpace?
We're working on it.
Yeah.
We called our agent. He's still working on it. So
No, y'all, you guys actually tour a lot compared to most indie bands.
Yeah, like a massive amount. Right?
So what
Yeah.
are your like main regions where you're touring? If somebody's listening, where can they see you?
We play a lot in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas. We do kind of the north, the middle of the country.
The north
In the
middle?
north middle.
The North Middle.
Yeah.
Sometimes
A little
the
bit of
South
East.
Middle.
Yeah, a little bit of east. We do East Coast tours sometimes. We go down to Florida in the winter because it's nice there. And people like to
Yep.
go to shows down there, which is pretty odd, but
Yep.
Cool.
We're wanting to go to the west at some point.
It's just so
Hashtag
far away.
Yeah,
if Night
take
Tides
us
would
to
call
the
us
west.
back, but
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I've heard those guys are dicks. I don't know.
One of them is for sure. Yeah. Speaking of Ryan,
But anyways, guys,
But-
we got to get about to wrapping this up. But before we do, is there anything you guys want to mention, say, things, anything you want to throw out there to the internet? It's okay if there's not. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's allowed.
oh, I'll end it with one of my favorite quotes. I think it's from, I think it's Roger Miller. I could be wrong, but this is it, and it's never miss a good chance to shut up.
Ooh. Who said that? You said?
I know y'all just super
Wait.
messed that quote up. You said never miss a good chance to shut up, and then you're all,
Yeah.
Who said that?
Who said that? Wait, who did you say said that? You said?
I think
did you say Roger Miller?
I said Roger Miller, but I think that's an artist. It wasn't an artist. I think it was a politician from way back when.
I'm gonna look that up because I'm definitely gonna use that aggressively against people. From now on.
You should say it and then just stare at them in
Hey,
silence.
I don't know if you ever heard this quote, but
You need to have
there's
a-
never. Wait, hold on. Don't miss a good chance to shut up.
Never-
Is that-
never-
never
never
miss a good chance to
chance.
shut up.
Yeah.
please,
God, that's
please,
so good.
please make that a macro on your computer that you just throw into
absolutely
every
will.
chat with everyone ever.
Yep.
But anyways, guys, this
Let's
has
take
been
that good opportunity.
No. I gotta do the outro. I can't shut up. I have to do the
Do you have
outro.
an outro? We're gonna play a Dawson Hollow song at the end, by the way. So you're about to
Oh yeah,
listen to a
what song
Dawson
are we
Hollow
gonna end
song.
with?
I guess you guys could pick.
Oh,
I feel
man.
like after all of this talking,
Yeah.
Well, I should let them. I'm not gonna say anything. You guys should
Oh.
pick. I was gonna. Yeah, y'all should pick the song.
No, a Dawson Hollow song.
Yeah,
What do you think it should be, Jerry?
I was gonna say we've talked so much about "Boy in My Youth" that we haven't played that one.
Well, that's the album.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also,
also
We're gonna
a
play
song on
Fire
the
and
album.
Flood. We're gonna play Fire
Oh, Fire
and Flood.
We
'cause
talk a lot about that Fire and
told
Flood.
the
Yeah,
story,
yeah,
the
yeah, that's
Eagle
a solid
story.
one.
Oh, and I never mentioned before.
The Eagle shirt.
We talked about a Parks and Rec tie-in. The Dawson Hollow met Jim O'Hare.
We did.
Oh, we
did,
never even
yeah.
got to
Yeah,
who they met.
yeah,
You
yeah,
kept
yeah.
building it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Like they met the star.
I'm gonna make this the name of the title,
Wait,
so people have to get to the very end to get to it.
Super sweet.
Wait,
dude.
Yeah, we
Oh,
played
wait.
Jerry, Larry, Terry.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jerry.
We were
Yeah.
in one of the green rooms. We're just like practicing, and he just pops his head in to say hi. It's
That's
like One of
awesome.
the kindest. Like he acted like Jerry.
Yeah, he
Not
is.
Larry?
acted, He is
Terry.
Terry.
Oh.
Terry. Larry. Jerry. Yeah. It was
He
like
is that
him.
person.
Yeah. He was such a sweet dude.
And he was so kind and made a video for us, with us,
Yeah.
and was like, go check out their Kickstarter, support this band.
That's dope.
Dawson
It was
Hollow.
So nice of him.
Yeah, he was incredible.
Yeah. And now he's an avid listener of the show, so he'll hear this.
Great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Love him.
But anyways, guys, this
my
is
line.
Fire and Flood from Dawson Hollow.
But anyways, guys, thanks everyone for coming to hang out. As always, you guys are awesome. This has been Dawson Hollow, and we will see y'all again next time.
Life was easy back when we were young. We'd wear cowboy hats and play with laser guns. Days were simple like a guitar strum. It was a summer night, no matter what the month. The world was smaller within our circle. We were so safe and warm. But now we're older, it's not so simple. We're head on with that storm. Come on, brother, open up your eyes. We felt the fire and seen the blood. We're carrying the scars. We played the city far too long. We will travel on. She walks in with a broken smile. Sister, rest your bones, come on and stay a while. She takes a seat and whispers, thank you, friend. Then she looks my way, says, don't misunderstand. We had no armor, we didn't need it. We were so safe and warm. places to open up your eyes. We felt the fire and seen the blood. We're carrying the scars. We played the cynic far too long. Oh, we will travel on. In our circle, we were so safe and warm. But now we're older, it's not so simple. We're head on with that storm. The world is smaller, way back in Dawson. We were so innocent and strong. But now we're older, it's not so simple. We're head on with that storm. Open up your eyes. We felt the fire and seen the blood. We're carrying the scars. We played the cynic far too long. We felt the fire and seen the blood. Yeah, we're carrying the scars. We played the cynic far too long. Travel on.
That was freaking awesome. Did you see that eagle? 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 Holy cow! Holy cow! Holy cow! Eagle? 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 Holy cow! Holy cow! That was freaking awesome. Did you see that eagle? 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 Holy cow! Holy cow! Eagle? 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 Holy cow! Holy cow! That was freaking awesome. Did you see that eagle? Yeah. Holy cow!
It was like soaring around, and we were about to start, so it went down and landed on the coast, and then we started. I was like, ah!